My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com.
It's currently 1:22 a.m. and it is Saturday, May 7, 2022, and I did capture video moments ago of the entity group stalking by helicopter after 1 o'clock in the morning, which is speaking to what the entity is doing on a ceaseless basis. Obsessive stalking, and it is group stalking by a government that's revealing that obsessive stalking, and this is the same obsessive stalking as I captured the entity group stalking at the venues that I remain in during the day, in an environment that is a scientific impossibility, stalking with an environment, and stalking as a people and a government. Union Pacific is the sound of what is train activity that occurs at 1:21 a.m. And the moment that I reach for my phone while the entity is engaging in what is the exaggerated sound and duration of a train, the moment that I reach for my phone in order to document it, immediately that train activity ceases, dies down in volume. Right, and this is the entity that's maintaining such train activity, which is audible activity in directed light, and an additional method of the same stalking conduct by the entity that's stalking by helicopter. It's 1:23 a.m. All right, and that is supposed to be the sound of the train actually running on the tracks. And again, my location is on the south side of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. That's actually impossible audible activity. You're literally listening to the sound of what's supposed to be the train as it's running on the train tracks. And this is just the maintenance of noise and engineered light. I just want to point that out. And that also has the character of what is, again, increasing and decreasing in volume, increasing and decreasing in what is duration, and also occurring with simultaneity to what I physically do and what I am doing on my phone, which is not a coincidence, as understanding what is demonic activity. This is the company Union Pacific to be prosecuted as engaging in such terrorism, which is demonic activity, while it is engaging in facilitating criminal monitoring by the state of California, where the entity is group stalking by helicopter to that creation of audible activity that Union Pacific is the guise under which this demonic environment is maintained. That is literally witnessing the work of Satan. That's ongoing noise, which is actually that which is an exaggerated form of what is not actually ever occurring. And being at the museum with the presence of train tracks does not mean that you're going to hear at this level of this volume and at this unrealistic frequency based on what I do as I do it. And the very fact that the entity is creating this amplified activity, because that's what it is, where the entity is also stalking by helicopter, you're understanding what's directly tethered together. It's the ongoing elements of monitoring, and this is the identification of a company to be prosecuted. The entity is engaging in what is group stalking by the people of the state, who are group stalking on the roads and the highways, while this demonic audible activity is created, which you are able to identify a company. Union Pacific likes to engage in stalking using its trains, and Union Pacific is the guise under which this audible activity is used in order to stalk with activity and also facilitate the government that's flying over me by helicopter, which I captured moments earlier as well. Following with the sound of a train is an ongoing additional method of what is the maintenance of noise in this engineered light, where the government is engaged in this obsessive stalking conduct, which again, you're witnessing the amplified audible activity. This is the illustration, the demonstration of obsessive stalking, and that's what group stalking is. It's obsession that is born of a specific condition. It's demon possession. Satan is using a government. Satan is using a people. Satan is present through the environment, and the identification of Satan is nothing other than understanding what is with regard to referring to it in the secular, under the law, it shall be referred to as what is the scientific impossibility, as I'm capturing the impossible with regard to the audible environment, that which you're hearing, the sound level, the entity, which is audible activity while you're subject to monitoring, and it's demonic activity. The light activity, the light source that I'm capturing during the day, capturing the what is an ongoing scientific impossibility that's a reference to the demonic, understanding what is an unnatural environment, that which is a scientific impossibility to actually occur, and based on what are scientific facts, again, and the ways in which the natural environment actually operates pursuant to allegedly scientific facts. And as I'm literally capturing evidence of what is the environment that's surrounding, and specifically the light source, which is, again, the light source and what is directed light, both of that together, not the sun and not sunlight. Okay. So you have this capturing of this demonic environment, which is capturing also the evidence of what is demon possession, and referred to as, again, this is just capturing the evidence of what is the implications of the condition of those that are in this environment, which literally defies scientific facts, and it is the objective evidence of what is demon possession. And that's literally the ability to prosecute this demonic conduct and the criminalization of demonic activity, where this demon possessed population, which is a government, okay, acting with the government, is monitoring in violation of existing federal law. It's currently 1:28 a.m. That's Union Pacific, and in video, as I captured moments earlier, that's the government, the state of California, a demon that is obsessively stalking, as the people of the state are on an ongoing basis, as I document thousands and thousands, identifying the same entity, the people of the state, as I document thousands and thousands, identifying that same exact single actor, the people of the state, prosecuted and sliced apart at that federal prosecution, the people of the state, the entirety, even in the corners in California where I have not been physically. The pattern of conduct is such that the government is engaging in what is a satanic targeting system, and the pattern of conduct is established whereby the entity is monitoring wherever it is that you go, and that is providing for what is the prosecution of the people of the state throughout the entirety of the state. Not just the third parties that I've documented. This is documentation establishing what is precedent and revealing what is the pattern of conduct of what is a very real system, group stalking. And group stalking is the work of Satan itself. It's a demonic system, and it is provided for the ongoing prosecution of a government and the people of the state, and every single last person in that state, which the government is monitoring in concert with. Wherever it is that you go. And I've shown that is occurring, how it's occurring, and it's occurring through the environment. And that's how you have what is a government that's stalking in this obsessive manner, in this incredible manner, which is what I captured in video, by helicopter. And this is exactly what I captured on video, and this is exactly what Union Pacific is engaging in. Audible activity. And you have, again, identifying company names while the entity is group stalking by the Ontario Police. And I'm documenting companies such as Amazon Prime. I'm documenting the United States Postal Service, which is the federal government, by the way. And I'm documenting the people of the state by license plate companies that are monitoring. You are understanding what is the grounds of federal prison. And as you are documenting what is concerted criminal conduct, which is a threat to your life, you are speaking to what is the ability to identify a company name, and such companies are not hiding behind any sense of anonymity. As you are listening to helicopter activity, you are listening to the evidence of an unlawful threat to the life of an American citizen who's being monitored in violation of existing federal law. And I've been documenting this for a term of years. And you're talking about what is federal prison for those whom I have already documented. And I'm showing you the ways in which you are easily capable to document those who are going to federal prison as a matter of that prosecution, where they're group stalking with that entity. That's stalking by the police, threatening your life, the third parties, a company vehicle, you're reaching into companies and they will be subject to what is federal prison and civil proceedings, draining the pockets of those companies. That's exactly what Union Pacific is documented, while the entity is incessantly using this guise of a train as nothing, which it's nothing other than a demonic activity. And the sound of a helicopter, which is the ongoing evidence of the entity obsessively stalking me, monitoring me, which I'm documenting on an ongoing basis while I'm identifying the entity that's group stalking inside of a library in that impossible environment during the day. This is the exact same entity that's engaging in an assault with a deadly weapon while I'm there group stalking with this entity, showing that obsession. This is what the government is doing. This is the same exact obsession and the direct evidence of that criminal system that is facilitated and operated by a government on whose behalf the people of the state will go to federal prison. And the government itself not hiding behind any sense of anonymity, flying around over my head by a helicopter. You have what shall be, again, very real people who are minions of Satan who will be going into very real federal prison for that. And this is speaking to what is a system that demands that as a matter of justice. That is just what is federal policy. And this is just dictating upon the criminal system that the government's engaging in. You're talking about what is obsessively stalking. It's 1:31 a.m. and the entity is sounding helicopter activity over my head. The federal policy shall be that you're talking about what is exceeding the unlawful intent to and methods that are exceeding the intent to intimidate, harass, and injure, which is the language of existing federal law of the this is the entity, a government that's engaging in what is criminal surveillance, which Title 18 is speaking to what is criminal surveillance by any actor, any person. This is a government that's engaging in it, and stalking by terrorism while you're engaging in that criminal conduct is that which is exceeding that. This is a conduct which is intending to terrorize, and it is terrorism on its face. It is terrorism that is done in concert with the entity that government is monitoring with, and that's the people of the state. That is how you are understanding what shall be federal prison. I documented tons of license plates before I came to the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Guess what? They are identified while the government is creating audible activity, stalking by helicopter, and by use of sirens, and by the use of amplified sound of train activity, which is identified by Union Pacific, by the way. This is speaking to what is already identified. It's a ceaseless pattern of conduct. And so group stalking is literally using the criminal conduct of the group and prosecuting that group that's acting as one. There is no getting out of that pattern. And there's also no avoiding what is the inevitable ability to identify that group in multiple manners. Not only is Stephanie Ortiz going to federal prison for this, who I have already documented, engaging in this ongoing ceaseless pattern of conduct that remains underway and was underway while she was engaged in criminal summoning, additional grounds of what is federal prison. But let me be clear, Stephanie Ortiz is a documented actor while the entity is group stalking and threatening my life with stalking by helicopter. That is the grounds of as I have identified an actor monitoring vicariously on behalf of that state. Understand that. She's going to federal prison. All right. So like I said, it is currently 1:34 a.m. and this is ongoing documentation of what the entity was doing. I captured this in video, and 1:34 a.m. you're hearing exactly an ongoing demonstration of what it is that I captured on video for you to see with your eyes or for you to hear with your ears. The obsession that is demonstrated through what is the group stalking conduct. Group stalking is the work of Satan. This is not only a criminal, that is the government that's stalking in a helicopter. Stalking in a helicopter is group stalking conduct. That is the entity is stalking not just as a government, but as a government in concert with the people who are in relevant position, monitoring in real time while you're listening to that helicopter activity sound. The government is acting with the demon-possessed troops that are the people of the state, who are heavily documented already, meaning literally ripe for federal prison. And that's how that system works, and that's how that prosecution is going to work with regard to what is the ability to confront, the government that's engaging in this, essentially a bullying system. And so you're going to bully under federal law. As a matter of justice, you go to federal prison, and the entity is already documented. They're not driving by and group stalking on Euclid Avenue right now, including the fire departments, the ambulances, the police department that are engaged in group stalking and nobody's getting away with anything, like I said. And so this is ongoing evidence of what is ceaselessly underway, and the entity I have already engaged in what is heavily documenting it, and it is going to pay in every regard with regard to the criminal conduct that it is ceaselessly engaging in, and doing so while posing an impermissible threat, that is engaging in this criminal conduct, acting with impunity, while I've already named those who are monitoring with you while you're threatening my life, stalking by helicopter, and monitoring and stalking with that government that's stalking me by helicopter. Yes, you're going to federal prison for more than one reason. Based on the multifaceted aspect of that criminal system that you are engaging in. It is as a demon-possessed entity, which is terrorism. Okay? It's currently 1:36 a.m., and again, it is Saturday, May 7, 2022, and this is the P.O.C. (2:21 a.m.) criminal summoning. And that's American Medical Response, driving north on Euclid Avenue, stalking in the path with what is light activity and amplified audible activity, which is nothing other than a demon that is stalking while surrounding me with the sound of sirens. It's an additional method of the pattern of conduct. It's also facilitation. It's called criminal summoning. Those demons are monitoring and using an ambulance for the elements of monitoring at 2:22 a.m. This is P.O.C. And the American Medical Response is the guise under which the ongoing demonic activity surrounding with methods of noise and engineered light. This is the pattern of conduct. This is demonic activity. American Medical Response does physically cross path with lights on the vehicle, which is also be witnessed on traffic cameras, again, at Euclid and Hall Boulevard. This is 2:22 a.m., and this is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. That's the entity that's engaged in long-sounding sound of a train and short ones while it's listening to me punch the screen on my phone, going then depending on what I'm doing. Okay, this is demonic. This is nothing other than the ongoing creation of noise in the environment. It's 2:28 a.m. This is the personality of Satan as it's coming out through while the entity is literally using an environment, creating ongoing noise and engineered light monitoring. And the train activity, the entity engages in what is the incessant sounding of a train, excessively loud and long and loud noise sounding of that very horn. This is supposed to be a train. And while I pull up my phone, as I open up, the entity immediately ceases that sound and engages in that little and then based on what I'm doing as I'm touching my phone. I just want to document that. That's the entity that's stalking, following with the additional method of what is train activity after criminal summoning, which is the act by American Medical Response, who is literally the demon that's driving by, not necessarily the sound of sirens coming from American Medical Response. Understand that. The demonic activity is that which is occurring, and the entity seeks to engage in conduct in order for you to attribute what it is that you are hearing to what it is that you are seeing, and vice versa. What is it that you are seeing with regard to what you are hearing? And so the entity is engaging in ongoing literally just ongoing methods of what is noise and engineered light. That's helicopter, criminal summoning by American Medical Response, the sound of a train, which is, again, intermittently in between all of those methods while the people of the state are monitoring the entire time. Okay. Group stalking, maintaining close proximity to me, as I've shown you the stalking conduct of the people of the state that like to be right next to me while I'm sleeping, right next to me in the bathrooms, and also right next to me wherever it is that I'm present inside of a venue. You are group stalking inside of a venue where the engineered light is present. You're the equally obsessed, and that obsession is demonstrated through that environment. It is Satan that's hiding in plain sight. Okay. It's criminal conduct that's occurring in plain sight. It's public corruption. It's 2:30 a.m. and this is Union Pacific that's being very hesitant to sound, because you have what is the entity that sounds that very horn that you hear, going very short sounding, That I'm giving you, I'm trying to replicate what is a very short sounding of what's supposed to be a sound of a train. When I am not recording, the entity engages in what is very long and exaggerated and high in volume sounding, that very sound of what's supposed to be the horn of a train. Okay, it is entirely demonic. All right, it is not even necessarily occurring with a train. There's no train running on the tracks at all. I started recording, immediately the sound stops. It is also with regard to what is the frequency of that sound. It's 2:30 a.m. This is all speaking to what is a P.O.C. on behalf of the same exact government. I will, however, be prosecuting the company specifically, Amtrak. Those are Amtrak's train tracks. And the criminal conduct by what is the demon-possessed actor, Union Pacific, which is nothing other than a means of identifying the vessels, if you will. The companies are nothing other than what are companies that are run by people who are of this condition, demon-possessed. And those companies are providing what is their name as your identifying minions. They like to use their company brand, Union Pacific. That's exactly how it'll be identified. Union Pacific to be prosecuted for that ongoing act of terrorism. This is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis. Literally, as I move, as I wake up, as I fall asleep, as I grab my phone, as I start recording, engaging in conduct centered on what it is that I may or may not capture. That is the pathetic actor. That is Satan. That is present in an environment seeking to obstruct justice. It is currently 2:31 a.m. and so the entity is vacillating from sounding that very horn, which you hear very shortly sounding, all right, immediately ceasing. No train is on the tracks, and the entity is doing so as opposed to when I'm not recording, when I just continue sleeping, and the entity engages in up to 9 and 10 times of doing that same exact conduct, but it's much more exaggerated. In the same way that I'm documenting this Caucasian minion inside of the Up and Public Library, as I captured yesterday in the morning, and she is using the sound of what you're looking at. She's stalking a bookcase, wiping it down, but it's creating what is ongoing noise. And this demon is continuously monitoring, not going anywhere, not stopping. But at the moment that I stop recording, that noise level picks up. This is the same exact pattern. It's the same exact conduct. It's an iteration, another iteration of the same exact satanic environment, satanic activity. All right, serving for what is monitoring with communication devices on behalf of the government that's stalking by helicopter. Okay, it's 2:32 a.m. This is P.O.C. (2:37 a.m.) Moments later, stalking with that method of noise with regard to my movement. The moment I move, immediately sounding a loud horn as though that's the train. It's stalking with activity. It's demonic. And that's creating the illusion that there's a train that's traveling anywhere. It's not. Okay, engaging in what is illusion with sound. And it's amplified sound. And it's occurring with regard to what I'm doing as I'm doing it. This is 2:38 a.m. This is P.O.C. Union Pacific is going to be prosecuted for that. And the state of California and the people of the state who have also identified many of them by name, reading their license plates. This is documentation of what is harassment by a demon-possessed entity engaged in federal stalking. Again, I just want to be clear, there's no train on the tracks while you're listening to this audible activity of what's reminiscent of the sound of a train. In the same way, you cannot hear the elevator inside of the bathroom of the Up and Public Library. While that sound reminiscent of the sound of an elevator, as I have captured it inside of the bathroom, it's impossible audible activity. It's also impossible to hear the sound of a train, even at the volume that you're hearing it as well, while there is actually no train on the tracks, and also the actual trains are not running at this frequency. This is what Metrolink, Union Pacific engage in while they're engaging in what is the state's surveillance system. providing their criminal services of what is amplified audible activity, the visible appearance of the train to match what is the demonic act of surrounding with the amplified sound of a train. Understand what's underway. It's demonic. It's prosecution for what is terrorism by these companies while they're monitoring with the government. It is 2:39 a.m. Repeatedly sounding this train horn and stops as I start recording. That's the amplified sound of what's supposed to be the train that's literally running on the tracks. It's 2:49 a.m. Again, while I'm not recording, the minute that I start recording, it immediately ceases. It's 2:49 a.m. and this is supposedly the traffic on the train tracks of the operating train at 2:50 a.m. I'm letting you know these are not actual trains. This is the entity engaging in an ongoing soundtrack, and I'm just recording for you every time that the entity is stalking with the sound of a train. While trains are and actually are not even on the train tracks. Under both circumstances, it's amplified audible activity centered on my physical conduct, my physical movement, and my activity on my phone. Alrighty, and it is 2:50 a.m. This is called Stalking with Audible Activity. I am literally the leader, and this is dictated through the audible activity created as well. So as I, again, begin recording, you hear the sounding of the horn of a train, engaging in what is an exaggerated use of that train horn, doing so 9 and 10 times, getting louder and louder. The moment that I start recording, immediately cuts that short. It's 2:51 a.m. It's 4:39 a.m. It's 4:40 a.m. And that is the entity group stalking using the sound of a train when there is not actually any train on the train tracks, okay? And also, you're also witnessing what the entity is engaging in different conduct with this method of audible activity based on my recording, as opposed to when I am not recording and the entity is engaging in what is longer, louder, and audible activity of the same form, and doing so with knowledge of the fact that I'm documenting. It's 4:41 a.m. and that is attributed to what is Union Pacific, and the entity doing nothing other than creating the ongoing audible activity creation. It is 4:41 at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts in directed light. That is audible activity. It is serving for what is monitoring. This is P.O.C. It's 5:01 a.m. It is, I want to document the entity moments ago sounding repeatedly the sound of a horn of a train with no train on the tracks. The entity is now amplifying the sound of a train on the actual tracks. And the entity is engaging in what is this sounding of this train, sounding of this ongoing horn on a train on the tracks, where there is no literal train that is actually riding on the tracks, and doing so while it is repeatedly sounding this ongoing horn, one after another, and doing so with ongoing knowledge. This is the demonic pattern, with ongoing knowledge of what my level of consciousness while I'm asleep and waking up. The entity is engaging in this conduct with ongoing knowledge of the fact that I'm documenting it. And this has nothing to do with what isn't even an actual train that's on the train tracks while that audible activity of the sound of a horn blowing from a train is occurring, okay? And that was literally just seconds ago, less than a minute. And so you're listening to what sounds as though a train is in the distance. That's the P.O.C. This is speaking to the ongoing illusion of what is audible activity, volume vacillating, going higher and higher and lower, as though the train is traveling, and that's the sound that you're hearing. This has nothing to do with what is normal sound, or nor the actual presence of trains. It's not reliant upon that. The entity is engaging in what is audible activity creation while I am at the same time documenting it, changing the conduct of this audible activity, the sound, the volume, the duration of this audible activity that's created based on whether I'm recording it or not, occurring with simultaneity to what I'm doing, occurring while I am in also changing that conduct once I start recording. So I want to document that, and it is currently 5:03 a.m. And this is P.O.C. of what is the audible activity of what's supposedly another train. And this is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is ongoing audible activity in engineered light. It is the pattern of conduct, the government that is stalking by planes and helicopters, and by the people of the state, by police officers, etc., is monitoring while this audible activity is created. What I am demonstrating is that this is nothing other than ongoing demonic activity. The sound of a train is nothing other than a method of noise creation. The entity is still stalking by helicopter, for example, still stalking by the people of the state, while this method, using specifically what is a train, also illustrating what is the frequency with which the entity is utilizing what is supposedly a train, all right, that is occurring, running this frequently, doing so at this level of volume, which again, this is that which is heard throughout the city, documenting in front at Fern and G Street. Inside of that vehicle, the entity sounding train activity, as though that's how far the train is heard, and the entity is engaging in this frequency of the use of the train, while I'm also showing which is, again, this is impossible audible activity, as I've demonstrated that, but you're talking about what the entity is engaging in, and what is the high unlikelihood of the entity even using these train tracks at this level. This is not the train that is Amtrak using any passenger train. This is Union Pacific that is engaging in what is pacing back and forth on the train, and also engaging in what is highly altering what the entity is doing in real time as I start recording or stop recording. Okay, and this is that which is under all circumstances nothing other than audible activities facilitation. It's occurring in the engineered light, and I'm revealing what is nothing other than demonic, as that audible activity of what's supposedly a train is not uniform. It vacillates with regard to even the way that it sounding often like actually a musical instrument, highly mutated in sound, but a musical instrument as opposed to an actual train. In that audible activity, whether it actually sounds like a train or not, I'm scrutinizing the method of what is nothing other than noise that's surrounding me at the museum in engineered light, where the entity that is, for example, stalking by planes and helicopters is still monitoring to that audible activity that is serving the purpose of keeping me surrounded with that noise. And as I am documenting it, this is my point, the entity is engaging in ongoing change with that change in the conduct of it. I'm documenting it because the entity engages in what is exaggerated use of this train, not only by frequency, but also by volume and duration of the sound of a train. So anyway, it's currently 5:06 a.m. This is P.O.C. No actual train on the tracks. No exaggerated use of the sound of a horn blowing while the train is on the tracks. And this is because I'm continuously recording it. All right, the entity, as I've documented 20 to 25 times overnight, using this method of audible activity creation, and that's when I'm not recording. Okay, it is 5:06 a.m. This is P.O.C. 6:41 a.m. Those are the same demons. American Medical Response driving south in directed light at 6:42 a.m. crossing path. Monitoring, engaging in what is the method of activity creation, ongoing activity creation at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. It is 6:42. The moment of crossing path with those sirens. Again, the sirens immediately the sound is immediately removed. I want to be clear that entity is engaging what is the amplification of the sound of sirens, while it is, again, under the illusion that the minion operating a vehicle with lights and which is related to the sound of sirens and ambulance is coming from somewhere and going somewhere. The audible activity is creating the illusion that AMR ambulance is coming from a distance. Immediately crossing path, the sound of the sirens is immediately disappears. It is not commensurate with what is the ongoing duration of amplified sound sirens before AMR literally drives by. And the sound of sirens immediately ceases after crossing path, which is also a documented pattern while the entity is targeting that audible activity and the crossing path conduct. It's also occurring in the specific environment at 6:43 a.m. The entity raises a fake sun right here at the museum. Where I'm at, the entity is driving in directed light. As I've shown you on the walls on the building and on the walls of the museum after 7 p.m. It is before 7 a.m. and the entity is engaging in aiming what is this directed light that's on the walls along the street right here where AMR is group stalking. It's 6:43 at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. That's criminal summoning. It is Saturday, May 7, 2022. Still, this is P.O.C. $6:52 a.m. Okay, it blows that horn in excess of 6 times. Immediately as I start recording, it ceases. There is no train on the tracks. This is the fake sound. This is demonic activity, okay? And that's exactly what American Medical Response is engaging in. It's demonic activity, the ongoing maintenance of noise, and the engineered light. This is group stalking at 6:53 a.m. This is amplified audible activity. It is 6:55 a.m. And this is documentation of what is harassment by an entity that's engaged in federal stalking. Okay, this is the same entity that engaged in assault with a deadly weapon while engaged in federal stalking. This is the conduct of an entity that's engaged in group stalking together in the specific environment, the very creation of audible activity and the method which I am revealing what the entity uses while I am at the museum, which is the frequent use of the sound of a train, the ongoing use of what is the sound of sirens, group stalking through what is the use of helicopters, through the use of planes, and also what is speaking to what is also demonic activity, that which is amplified for purposes of what is massive facilitation. The people of the state are monitoring, and they are surrounding me with what is amplified audible activity. And not only that, again, as I've stated, the entity engages in what is changing, what it's doing with the sound of, for example, of train activity as I am recording it. Okay. And based on whether or not I am recording it. It's 6:56 a.m. This is P.O.C. (7:22 a.m. The entity engaging in what is group stalking by commercial airline plane, and this is the sound as though those planes are taking off above the museum in the directed light under the fake sun in relevant position. This is facilitation while the entity is engaging in that group conduct, and there are no planes that are taking off over the museum. This is the hovering conduct that the entity is doing, where I'm documenting this method of group stalking by commercial airline planes in that very same specific environment, that specific environment, which is a scientific impossibility. This is the group stalking by the entity that is using commercial airline planes to do so, in the same way that I captured on video where the entity is pacing using a helicopter and commercial airline plane. It's 7:23 a.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Much longer horn before I start recording. Just like that, much louder though. It's 7:27 a.m. Amplified audible activity, the use of what is the sound of a train. The entity engaging in this ongoing, as I've documented, as I continue to explain, the entity doing so with regard to what I'm doing physically, with what I'm doing while the entity is stalking by the people of the state who are stalking in relevant position in the specific environment around me, and while the government is pacing around in planes and helicopters and police vehicles, for example. Group stalking, maintaining audible activity, and doing so, this audible activity has personality, seeking to avoid being documented because it immediately changes and as I begin recording. And so it's 7:29 a.m. This is amplified audible activity under the guise of what's the sound of an ongoing of a train. Okay, it's 7:29 a.m. at the Ontario Museum. This is the maintenance of audible activity in engineered light. P.O.C. 8ZJL048, 6PMW 867, 7UVB 930, 9ABB198, 5RLLO, I can't really say that one, 7PXC431, 7NVP474, 6RZY 786, 8893681. They're molesting and doing so with what is directed light while I'm walking on the sidewalk, flashing of directed light. This is the same exact entity that is stalking with light, doing so while the entity is group stalking. This is the people of the state that are engaged in the exact same pattern of conduct, okay? And this is the sex offense by the people of the state. Let me be clear. While I'm documenting, for example, the ongoing methods of activity creation, maintenance of audible activity, while I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, an ongoing sex offense is underway. The entity is molesting with directed light. As I've shown you what is covering the walls, it's covering the entirety of my location. That's why I have multiple shadows. So I want to be clear, while the entity is sounding Union Pacific train activity, which I'm revealing to you is actually, it's demonic activity. You're talking about what's demonic activity. Demonic activity is that which is surrounding in an environment. It's a method of what is ongoing demonic activity. So you're talking about what is the sound, and it's the demonic environment that is maintained. This demonic environment is relevant to what is the actual audible noises that are being created, which again occurring under the guise of the sound of a train. Union Pacific is engaging in what is a sex offense while being molested. Vehicle 1028, that's the Ontario Police, who are group stalking right now while the entity is sounding plane activity. And the Ontario Police have been monitoring all night while they are engaged in criminal summoning and ongoing sex offense, while they are engaging in the sound of sirens while they're monitoring and facilitating that ongoing monitoring by the people of the state, such as AELX 308, and engaging in what is harassment by an entity while the entirety of an entity is monitoring, and just engaging in an ongoing exchange of methods of ongoing noise. Molestation with directed light is a point, though. So the iteration of the pattern of conduct when I'm not remaining at the museum, for example, or when I'm not remaining in the open public library where the entity is molesting with directed light that it's aiming inside of the venue, is touching with directed light, such as 7XDU208. They're sex offenders that are engaging in that touching violation of the person. 8EMM143. 7TIL303. License plate 8YIJ495. And I've shown you how they engage in that. You've got what is directed light, lines of directed light that's coming from your car, lines of directed light that are touching the walls that are at a distance from their vehicles. This is demonic activity, okay? This is the maintenance of the exact same environment, and this is the entity that's monitoring all night at the museum, no longer flying over the museum, flying right over me at the intersection. That is the group stalker S.I.S. Airlines, engaging in what is a sex offense right now, okay? It is currently 8:38 a.m. and monitoring with Southwest Airlines, CC81R32, paper, 8TBP171, AS506 handicap, 8LEH227, 8UJC362, 7ZDH715, 8URZ132, 6HVJ6466, I believe. I can't really see that one. Let me be clear. They're also monitoring. Southwest Airlines is engaging in what is an impermissible threat. The company engaging in group stalking, monitoring with the demon-possessed agency, that is the Ontario Police. Engaging in that criminal system, this criminal system with the state that is threatening your life, is the grounds of federal prison. And like I said, the prosecution shall be reaching into companies who will pay the penalty. You're talking about what includes federal prison, in addition to what is civil proceedings. These companies that are in the state making money while they are using those very companies to engage in what is the absurdly peculiar conduct of stalking, using their vehicles, their planes, etc. They're demon-possessed employees. 7JWF961, engaging in what is a sex offense. All right, and so I want to be clear that Southwest Airlines and third parties whose license plate I'm reciting, they're group stalking with the Ontario Police, who are monitoring, threatening the life. They're kidnappers, sex offenders. Those that are engaging in 9AJC728, monitoring the documentation that's accumulated on an ongoing basis, which they were doing all night. And by the way, I documented tons of third parties already who are, while the entity is sounding sirens, all right, while Ontario Police is engaged in criminal summoning, I already gathered a whole bunch of names of third parties who are in no way avoiding a prosecution, okay? This is the reality of that group conduct. And so you're talking about what is the prosecution for that entity that's acting as one, and the identification of those who shall be subject to federal prison is already published, okay? And this is how that documentation, this is how that criminal conduct is literally revealing itself. So you're engaging in the pattern of conduct 5SKU115, and you'll be prosecuted in the ways that justice requires. And that is up into and including federal prison. 8DYA100, 8WKG599, 7GQL610, 18907B1, 5T99826, 8GPP155, 5HBL544, BG89884, paper, 7LEH710, LEOJ20. And it is currently, by the way, 8:40 a.m. License 8966983, I believe. I can't see that clearly. 5JBG184. 5LNW831. Alrighty, I just want to make sure I identify the people of the state that are engaging in that sex offense. All right, you're talking about what is engaging in sexual violence with impunity, engaging in what is terrorizing, threatening conduct, entirely peculiar conduct while you're stalking as an entity. That's what the people of the state are doing while I'm documenting the entity stalking with the sound of a train, doing so with stalking by helicopter. This is that same exact entity that is held accountable for it. They're monitoring as one. Okay, so like I said, it is currently 8:42 a.m. and this is the ongoing pattern of conduct. It's not taking a pause. It's not separate while the entity is flying in circles around me at a particular venue by helicopter. That same exact entity is group stalking and doing it through the very minions that I continuously identify by company name and license plates, and also in addition to what is a sexually violent conduct that they too engage in, the same exact demon possession, stalking with light. All right, it's currently 8:42 a.m. McLean crossing path. Seven NWS 733, 5LNW 831, 12145G2, 7UXL 976, 6PNJ 142, 80748J1, 8PQY 903, 8TSY 675, 6BIY 850. 97261J3, and this is the Ontario Fire 1393738. Alrighty, I just want you to see these are the demons that are sounding their sirens all night, group stalking at the intersection during the day. Again, that's Ontario Fire, license 1393738. It is currently 8:43 a.m. And that demon that's driving the Ontario Fire Department vehicle is at Euclid and Holt, where I'm walking. They're crossing path, stalking at a stoplight. And I did capture a close-up image of that demon. It is 8:44 a.m. It's a Caucasian male. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, 8:46 a.m. 7ZFL 306, 8TYK129, 8VDG 912, 6JNR 979, 6YLT 367, 5DTK 924, 6PPY 339, 7YCK, 7YCX 317, 49717F1, 3WPT 316, I believe, 03156T1, 8M37113, 8UWE274, Omnitrans license 1302442, bus 2360, 7YNF 927, that's 61 going westbound at 8:47 a.m. Terminex crossing path at the United States Postal Service, license 92783X1 on Laurel and Holt Boulevard. That looks like a Caucasian male, bald head, and is staring directly at me while he is group stalking. License 8VYN750, 5MPS 368, 8EEF 184, 6BYS 571, 6YYS 198, 46345D1. That's Union Pacific. 8PTA 231 is group stalking on the side of the road while that amplified audible activity is sounding. Sam's Liquor is monitoring. The venue at 202 Euclid Avenue is monitoring. 8NIK 223. This is where the Ape Fitness is located at 205 Holt Boulevard. Did I say Euclid? I meant 202 Holt Boulevard. I want to make sure there's the insurance, the income tax, the Flores Barbershop. That's amplified audible activity, and as I've shown you, that ongoing lively activity that changes based on my recording conduct as I'm stationary at the museum, it's the same conduct while I'm walking about. It's nothing other than a soundtrack, and demons are monitoring, keeping me surrounded with noise. 8FKD616, license 7AGW264, 8SHP090, 4ZDH715, and it is 8:48 a.m. 8LWU440, 8KGB674. And again, that license plate I read, they're engaging in surveillance. They're stalking on the side of Rich's second jewelry and loan. And they're doing so while the entity is at the same time sounding this amplified audible activity. They're sitting in their vehicle and they begin movement in their vehicle. They're waiting for what is crossing a path conduct. And you are aware of this because of the environment that remains. The fake sun is remaining on Hope Boulevard, moving west, keeping over my head in the direction west, not moving in any direction north, as is the case when I'm on the Route 83, all right? 8Y40071, stalking with the light source, TOBCE3, and stalking with stalking via the people of the state, 6XHA632. You can see the light source of this entity, the 6XHA, I believe. It's a Honda Accord. This is a male city group stalking on the side of what is Palm and Hope Boulevard, DEANNA, and engaging in what is surveillance. This is stalking in the path, waiting for what is crossing in path conduct. This is the surveillance by the people. And I want to be clear, it's not different while they're driving by on the streets. 6XTK851, they're doing the exact same thing, waiting for crossing a path while they're just driving down the street. I want to be clear, it's the same deliberate surveillance conduct. They're also doing the same thing while they are working at the Hope Boulevard Car Wash is a facilitating venue. They are waiting for crossing a path. 4JVR018. That's why you have that specific environment of fake sun remaining over me on Hope Boulevard. 8NMZ230. And on Hope Boulevard, meaning as I'm walking west on Hope Boulevard at this time, 8:50 a.m., where I have gotten off, for example, at the 7-Eleven in Upland, California, going in the direction north on Route 83, and done so many times, in addition to being en route to Chino and already present in Chino, the same with being present in Fontana, etc. This is not the sun that is remaining over me while I'm walking west on Hope Boulevard in this exclusive manner, while you're also paying attention to the amplified sound of the train, the amplified sound of planes, hovering around by sound, hovering around physically, flying over where I am located in that environment. That's speaking to the ongoing intent to engage in surveillance for MOC 754. It is currently 8:51 a.m. LYV674, and I'm in Trans Route 61 license 1545862, bus 2348. It's going eastbound at 8:51 a.m. All right, the fake sun is remaining over me at third-party facilitating venue, First Christian Church, and 6NWD170 is group stalking crossing path. Also at what is Emporia Place. These are these apartments at Vine and Hope Boulevard. This is P.O.C. 91528H1 7DFB 785 86902C1 SNDGUY. All right, fake sun moving over me at the Gator Glass, the L&R Auto Repair. This is where I'm walking on Hope Boulevard, and the fake sun's right over me as I'm walking west. 8BEC350. And it's currently 8:53 a.m. Demons with directed light in front of their cars. 5WDR965. 8NJE800, communication device in hand while he's group stalking. 8CDJ925. 6RJL161. 14682G3, third-party facilitating venue Custom Plastics at 531 Hall Boulevard in Ontario, California. Fake sun right over me while this is crossing path at a facilitating venue. License plate 7BOE591 PYW0972, I believe. Looks like Texas. 6NQU611. 8EXV404. CT945 handicap. XRG150. 7KQY597. 7DFS533. 6PQR926. All right, now what that third party did right now, which is slow down while I have the right of way crossing the street, is what the third party should have done yesterday while I was on an even smaller street. And this is the intent to engage in that crossing of path conduct with necessity while the group stalking is underway. And so I want to be clear, I'm speaking to what is the same exact entity that's engaging in what is assault with a deadly weapon in order to complete their criminal conduct of maintaining crossing a path, and doing so crossing a path on a certain side of my person, instead of giving me, not getting in the way of taking away what is the right of way, all right, which is an assault by an entity that's threatening your life already with a deadly weapon. 85059G2. They're very demented. Okay, you're talking about what are the demon possessed, who are then engaging in assault with a deadly weapon. They're stalking you with noise, stalking you in bathrooms while your panties are down, engaging in obsessive stalking, and then accelerating toward you when you clearly have the right of way. That is all manner of what is a threat by the same entity on whose behalf they are stalking, where they are following me around with helicopters. Yes, you're talking about what is going to federal prison. And as I stated in real time as that third party engaged in that act in Upland, California, where, by the way, I am not present, and the light source says I'm capturing video yesterday at the Upland Public Library, and I'm in Ontario. I just want to be clear. 50133D3, excuse me, 50133B3. That is speaking to what is an unlawful threat. That is all manner of a communication of a threat by psychopaths. That psychopath status, which is literally deduced from the conduct of psychopaths, the demon possessed that are group stalking, engaging in what is a threatening assault with a deadly weapon. That's a threatening act. 6WSP872 is a demon stalking with directed light, and then such demons that are seeking to keep you under surveillance and then engaging in what is an assault with a deadly weapon. Yes, that's grounds of what is federal prison. Okay, 8NVN820, 7DNL914, 5BCC819. Because you have no business engaging in what is group stalking in the first place. And so every single act, criminal act, precipitating from the government's pattern of conduct that the people of the state are fully engaged in, this is demonic activity. You are talking about what is the prosecution of an entity. The people of the state are going to be prosecuted for that. But I documented in real time on my podcast, and this is what I'm stating, as that third party engaged in that, and then I stood right there and captured video as well, because they're going to federal prison. It's 8:57 a.m., 8WGM297. License 41360D1, and it's 8:58 a.m. License 5ZBN702, 8HUL968, 8BNM567, 7LLP200, 5PRU924, 8NOR342, 6FYE731, and it is 9:16 a.m. 8TBP171, 7TKV917, 6TLK412, 8JKV385, 8WGM297, 8DDA338, 7Y10467, 8EEY240, 94242D2, W615BO, 7R U.S. 326. He said I read that one already. I think I read this one. They were a group stalking, waiting for me to walk out. 8LWH 976 and directed light across the curb while that demon 8BNM 567 crosses path. 7GFT 004 8V 89980 is a demon as well. A group stalking in the path while that facilitating light activity, which is impossible to occur, is underway. 7WIC 444 5DAF 938 and again 8LWH 976 touches me. That's a molestation with directed light. License 5LNW 831 8AYG 475. That is Lucky Fashion Junior Plus at 628 Hope Boulevard. They're monitoring. And they're engaging in that ongoing group stalking conduct and molestation, touching. They're all touching together. They're monitoring together. License 6MYZ609 8WNX 237. And they're engaged in what is bathroom monitoring. Monitoring while my panties are down inside of the bathroom, inside of third-party facilitated venue, Stater Brothers, at 646 West Holt. Omnitrans crossing path right now. Monitoring with this minion, 91676E3. That's a Latino male engaging in surveillance in the parking lot outside of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. 6VHA060, 8UDN697. 9488. Excuse me, 94889. I can't see that. Hold on. 94898Z2. Excuse me. It is, by the way, 9:19 a.m. 8XVR030 6P34480. Yeah. How many trans bus 2341 crossing path? It's about 83. 5JDN990 04577H3. It's 9:28 a.m. 8YRB437. Rider is group stalking and molesting with directed light. The license plate is 59590U1. And that is, again, I just captured video at 9:30 a.m. of the impossible light that's on the inside of the bus. You can see the shadow of my hand. It's the shadow of an impossible placement of a shadow of the bar that's like on the side of the wall. That's absolutely impossible light activity. This is demonic, and that's demonic conduct, terrorism, and sexual violence that Ryder is engaging in while they know that I'm sitting on this bus. They're engaged in group stalking. That's a demon operating that commercial vehicle, engaging in that sex offense on behalf of the entity that is stalking me by helicopters. That is on behalf of the government, on behalf of the state, and in concert with the people of the state. 6URG008 is a part of that same exact sex offense, and they're stalking as one. In addition to the minion that's driving this bus. And I believe this is employee number 3017. She's operating Route 83, documented operating Route 61, and engaging in what is the same exact molestation conduct while the entity is keeping a fake sun going in the opposite direction. There is no comparison and with the direction that the bus is going on Route 61, 8YZG246, and what the entity is doing with a light while it's going in that direction and going to Route 83 north. Okay, so, and also the light activity that you see on the bus, Ryder is crossing path while this light activity is touching my person, flashing while I'm sitting on the driver's side of the bus. I moved over to the passenger side in order that you could see the fake sun in alignment with me. I'm sitting on the driver's side. Ryder is crossing path on the in the middle lane on Euclid Avenue and molesting my body with what is directed light while that demon is driving by. Okay, so, and the fake sun is on the passenger side of the bus, but even if the sun was directly above the bus, because obviously it's not, because the entity is aiming light horizontally through the windows and onto the floor of the bus, that's clearly not the sun as well, because the sun would be over. That's light none of this light activity is natural whatsoever. But like I said, the light source is on the passenger side of the bus. Ryder's crossing path on the driver's side of the bus. Ryder is part of the entity that the people of the state like to utilize to engage in such violence and such hostility, and doing so while monitoring documentation. So like I said, companies will be held accountable. You're talking about what is federal prison. while they're engaged in that sex offense. And 6JXL718 is part of that same sex offense, the employee operating Omnitrans vehicle. Omnitrans itself, pursuant, you're talking about what's an entire entity. The demons that are sitting on this bus on surveillance cameras. SANDZ-A7, 6SXX, 243. 7UPC264, 8AVA161, 37 a.m. So, just giving another example, a very clear, vivid example. My location in Pomona, California, for example, March 22nd, 2022, where I am inside at 9:35 a.m. and I'm still capturing video at this moment, inside of the Starbucks at 101 Mission Boulevard, and that light source is aimed directly on me through a window in that Starbucks in Pomona. Very precise maintenance of presence. That's clearly not the sun that's remaining over me, moving in the northbound direction on Euclid Avenue. Just speaking to what is, again, the presence of this light source and incentive through a Starbucks window in Pomona and through a window on Omnitrans going Route 83 northbound. 8AVA161 is classified again. But you also know it's not the sun because well into the evening after 7 p.m., the light source is engaged in the same exact conduct, just on the opposite side of the street. 08617W2. You're going to prosecute for that terrorism, and this is exactly what I'm documenting at the Ontario Museum of History and Art, 7LLL158, where the people of the state are group stalking while the entity maintains directed light on me and around me at that museum, and stalking by flying by commercial airline planes over the museum. Flying by helicopter over the museum, where I am over at the museum, okay? Group stalking. This is the exact same entity, 7PGK990. You're understanding what is the entity that is acting directly and what is acting vicariously. The people of the state are engaging in vicarious conduct, group stalking on behalf of that government that's engaging in state surveillance. It is 9:39 a.m. We're at the at that IHOP at the train tracks across from Western Christian High School. 8VHP300. Western Christian High School is nothing other than a title. 31560W2, because those alleged high schoolers, the fake sent over their venue, and those minions at that high school, the adults were stalking. Have I documented that venue already? In other words, demonic activity at what is another venue claiming to be of some religious affiliation. It is currently 9:39 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 7-Eleven in Upland, California. Thank you. Bye-bye. And again, this is license plate 1545797. And that is employee. This is the female employee number 3017. And it is bus number 2341. Directed light while she drives off. Impossible light activity. As you saw, impossible light activity on the bus as well. 6EZL638, excuse me. Fake sun over the 204 North Euclid Avenue 7-Eleven. In doing so upon my arrival, which is later than 8:45, as I documented as I came here earlier. And you have what is the fake sun that's here while again, on the day that I arrived here at 8:45 a.m., I have already left the 7-Eleven. And this is speaking to what is stalking with the light source, and all of these demons are stalking as well. 8CEC194, 6DBV603, 6YDR943. This is a demon. The entity is flashing directed light while they're group stalking at the gas stalls. License 6TJZ405. License 8C, I read that one already. 6WRP178, 7MYP346,
8HKY766, all right? And the light show that you saw inside of 7-Eleven that I captured yesterday evening, this is a light show outside, all right? They're sex offenders and they're engaging in terrorism. It's a light show on the bus. It's a light show at the museum. It's a light show because they're stalking and monitoring and their demons engaging in that conduct. It's 9:41 a.m. Yeah. Group stalking at the 7-Eleven, 8AKM182 and 7MYP346. And I believe I read 8HKY766. Alrighty, it is currently 9:45 a.m. Alrighty, license plate. I want to make sure I get all the rest of these third parties. 7LMD718 was present and remains present during the video documentation that I just captured of the entity engaging in what is hostility while you're documenting their criminal conduct and revealing their demon possession. And this, Caucasian, she looks like a crackhead. She has tattoos all over her face. 77802A3, looks like she's had a really hard life. 8P97056, she's out there while she's engaging in what is showing hostility. This is Satan that I'm confronting, that I'm encountering. You're listening to the audible activity of a minion who is speaking to, again, on behalf of the entity. They're of the same condition. All right, let me be clear. They're engaging in the identical conduct, which is an impossible occurrence, directed light. They're all in the same environment where directed light surrounds. They are of the same condition. This is how you are able to understand and recognize demon possession. And this demon possession is pursuant to what is criminal conduct. And you're understanding what is, again, the conduct of Satan while they're demonstrating what they're all really actually in the same state of what is fury while I'm documenting. 8XET911, documenting which is the criminal system that they're engaging in, because you're engaging in something that is exceedingly, you're engaging in something that you intend to maintain as unspoken. And I have totally disrupted all of that. And that's why you have such the level of fury while I'm standing in a parking lot and I can hold my phone in whatever I can do whatever I want with my phone. Just like she's walking back and forth and doing so in relevant position to me, paying attention to me. I'm not addressing her, but you have what is absolute focus on me. And let me be clear, it's not because I am merely holding my phone and standing in front of her car, which, by the way, that's still unfounded hostility. You have what the entity is engaging in, what is documentation of what is clearly not the sun, revealing a condition which is directly relevant to them. They know exactly what it is that I'm documenting. And so I want to point that out. This is Satan that I'm encountering. So like I said, I also don't want it to be mistaken. Do not be confused. This demon is speaking on behalf of all the rest, and they are all of the same condition. All of them. Okay? 7TCK145. 6WIT288, they are all of the same exact condition. 7CSF769, and that condition that I'm referencing is demon possession. That's what I'm showing you with regard to the fake sun. 12 hours later, it's at that same venue. 6XSF988, 7BHZ561. It's at that same venue as I captured yesterday evening, and the entity is aiming light into the depths of that venue, where they are also group stalking. Those particular demons drive by the 7-Eleven where I'm standing, group stalking, all right, targeting me, and then you're hostile while I'm documenting your criminal conduct and your condition, which is that of demon possession. 8YOB579, 28006Z2. It is currently 9:56 a.m. So I want to be clear, the entity is engaging in conduct on behalf of the people of the state. All of the people of the state. All of them in relevant position are monitoring. They're monitoring to what is the audible activity of this third party, who is engaging also in what is an assault, all right? Engaging in what is an assault while she's charging toward me. Okay, a bony crackhead or not, this is a threat that's posed by the state. 5GXY660, stalking the path with light at 300 Euclid Avenue. All right, I just took some still images of that real quick. You have the entity that is group stalking through these minions, monitoring with 7-Eleven, monitoring in directed light. The minions that I'm capturing that are engaging in surveillance while I'm at the 7-Eleven, understand they are all of that same level of fury. While they know what I'm talking about. They're in their cars, the windows are up, they're driving off. Let me be clear, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They're monitoring together. All right, so this is the system of group stalking, and that is the conduct of Satan, and that is speaking to what is an unlawful threat. The government that's stalking, monitoring, placing you under surveillance, is then using what are a bunch of demons that are the people of the state who are surrounding you and monitoring you, and then engaging in what is seeking to threaten you or harass you while you're documenting their demented conduct, while they are stalking you. Okay, so like I said, that is what I will be publishing, the video that I captured of what is this. This is a Caucasian female. It's demonic while they're driving by in their vehicle, directed light swipes all across the 7-Eleven, the entrance, absolutely impossible light. I'm reminding you about where I'm at 9:45 a.m., which is the Montclair Transit Center, which is just one example as well. And then you have what is the directed light that I'm standing in, showing you what is not even sunlight, impossible that it would be there. And also reminding you about what is in the evening, the light sources at that same venue aiming light into that 7-Eleven, directed light on the inside of the store, directed light on the outside of the store. All of this is impossible light activity in addition to what is also not the sun. At the end of the day, after 6 p.m., the light source is present, as I documented just yesterday evening. I'll be publishing that, okay? But I've already published that before. So you're talking about what is all manner of being surrounded with that evidence. Let me be clear. As I document that, as I catalog that, that is the theory of that entity. And so that's relevant. Why am I going through that? Because that's relevant to what is a psychopath. That's relevant to what is a psychopath who is super thirsty for federal prison. And that's exactly where that crackhead belongs. That's where she's going. 6BOD578, 8AZA310, 7TXJ299, 8GXE595. And the entity also seeking to in any way distract from the documentation that I'm capturing. It's not a distraction. You're witnessing what is unfounded hostility by a demon-possessed group stalker while they are surrounded with evidence and while they are using their audible activity, with which is monitoring, all right? You are talking about what is the demonstration of BN10J17 paper and 7KNZ868. You're talking about what is that unfounded hostility that you're witnessing while I'm documenting what is clearly an established pattern of conduct. All right, I'm breaking down. You're seeing the direct light. You're seeing the fake sun. You remember the duration of time, not the sun. You remember what is my location in entirely different cities, maintaining this ongoing presence at the same venue. That's not the sun. My presence arriving at that 7-Eleven an hour earlier, and yet it's arriving today as I get off the bus at the same location, not the sun. This is all infuriating to Satan, okay? Because this is exactly what is wrong with this many and all of the rest of them. And so, like I said, that's why I'm going around after documenting this third party who's on video, who wants to be a distraction. You're not going to be it's not a distraction. It's ongoing audible activity. It is understanding and witnessing the personality of Satan. In doing so, while I am capturing their demonic and criminal system. And that is relevant to understanding the intent of the entity and the posture that it maintains toward the American citizens' enforcement of their constitutional rights. And that's speaking to, again, the necessary legislation. Now, she is going to federal prison, but I want to be clear, the third parties that are monitoring with her, subject to federal prison as well. It's not just her that is speaking. She's speaking, which is creation of audible activity. The entity is monitoring altogether on behalf of the state, every single last one of them, including those that are working at that 7-Eleven, monitoring to that, engaged in that same ongoing criminal activity on behalf of the government that engages in stalking by police and helicopters. They're monitoring together, and that's why I went about, this is what you're going to focus on, because you're talking about what is justice amongst an entity that's engaging in that conduct together, threatening together, and every single last one of them federal prison together. All right, they are not silent. They're not some passerby. You are not in any way innocent. You are directly engaged in that ongoing criminal act. All right, in the same way they're monitoring you together in the bathroom, they're monitoring you together while they kidnap you. All right, engaging in what is a fictitious prosecution. The people of the state fully engaged in ongoing surveillance, as I documented him. The entity was keeping a fake sun over me while the sheriff's department was kidnapping me, taking me from the West Valley jail to the courthouse, where the entity was keeping a fake sun over both of those venues for the duration of the day while I remained kidnapped. The people of the state were engaged in the same obsessive stalking, the same demonic activity, the same exact P.O.C. All right, yes, they are a part of that same criminal act, and while an entity is engaging and threatening you through one demon, the rest of them that are monitoring, they are communicating that threat together. In the same way, the entity that's stalking by helicopter, you capture documentation, the entity that's flying over a circle, ominously stalking you and threatening your life by helicopter. Guess what? All the third parties in relevant position, they're going to federal prison as well. You're documenting that. That's what you're documenting it. So, like I said, that's exactly what I'm capturing on video, and that is evidence of what she's going to federal prison. The overweight minion that is with her, who is driving that vehicle, that SUV, that's federal prison for that. That's an unlawful threat. That's the government that's speaking through a minion who is hostile because you're documenting it. And because Satan loses so bad, with regard to this condition, this is nothing other than a minion that's very, very hostile because every single last ounce of everything that you're doing, I've turned it inside out and shown you, I'm not referencing the minions, meaning you, I'm speaking, I've fully published what the criminal activity is and the ways in which they engage in that criminal activity as an entity, and not only that, as a matter of justice, and what is the most effective means of breaking down an entire system like this? Oh, the way in which you prosecute it.
All right, so, and you're talking about federal prison for that entity is speaking through this crackhead minion at this 7-Eleven under the fake sun and in directed light. Okay, engaging in what is a battery, touching me with ice. Okay, doing so while you're threatening, like you are going to do something. That's an assault. All right, this is not, again, it's some bony little crackhead. This is a third party that represents the state that engages in criminal summoning, criminal defamation, criminal waging of false allegations. Understand, all of the state that is stalking by helicopter is what is represented by a third party group stalker. It is an unlawful threat. The entity does not have any right to threaten you verbally. Those are very, very serious federal charges. Very serious, okay? And it is the grounds of federal prison. So you're talking about what is literally tiptoeing, and that's if you're stupid enough to be in relevant position and be documented. But the entity it's group stalking nonetheless. But you're talking about what is literally tiptoeing in relevant position while you are engaging in group stalking, engaging in batting an eye the wrong way because you are waging a threat. Understand that. That's the government that is threatening you through a pissant third party, a crackhead third party. All right, this is a crackhead. Tattoos all over her face, a low life. Okay, and engaging in what is hostility because Satan is mad, using this minion while I'm literally prosecuting them on my podcast and a video. This is why you're so mad. All right, and you can be mad in federal prison. And everybody in relevant position that I documented at that gas station, the same exact treatment. Understand that. They're not silent. They're not there on some passive basis. They're engaged in surveillance together, and so that's what you need to understand. That is the very conduct of that is befitting that policy, because this is exactly what they're doing. And so it is serving to try to attempt to be a distraction, but let's be clear, that's no distraction. That's serving for everybody else who I already documented, and those that are sitting around monitoring to that audible activity under the fake sun and the exact same directed light on behalf of the same exact public entity. They're all going to federal prison. That's exactly what I made sure I documented on that video. Everybody that's in relevant position, including the employees who I completed a purchase from inside of that 7-Eleven. Okay, this is the same 7-Eleven engaging in a sex offense yesterday evening upon exit of the same exact library where the entity kept the fake sun until after 7 p.m. Okay, and so today when I arrive at that 7-Eleven, again, let's remember the facts. I arrived today at 9:45 a.m. The record shows earlier this week when I arrived here, an hour later, the fake sun is not remaining over that 7-Eleven. It remains over me as I continue walking north of Euclid Avenue. Okay, remaining present at the Upland Public Library, walking and documenting the Upland Unified School District and Molly Super and all of these venues around the Upland City Hall where the entity is keeping the fake sun. It's not remaining over the 7-Eleven. It remains over me as I get on the bus later, which you see in video. You also see the directed light on that bus while that light source is remaining over me. This is the evidence that Satan is surrounded by and is very, very hostile while I'm revealing that conduct. This is the same entity that's using, again, everything that I've documented. You're understanding the big picture. Take a step back. This is the P.O.C. that I'm documenting all night long at the museum, where the entity is molesting with directed light, stalking by helicopters, stalking by airplanes, and stalking with the use of train activity, which is Union Pacific. This is the same exact entity. Okay, so this directed light is at a venue where I'm at. This directed light, which is 7-Eleven. This directed light is on the bus, which is nothing other than a venue that's in motion. All right, this is speaking to what is the maintenance of that exact same P.O.C., where the people of the state are group stalking all night long while I'm at the museum. All right, they're group stalking inside of the 7-Eleven. And while they are group stalking, they are being documented as they speak and communicate that threat and engage in that assault and battery, which is documented on video and which is grounds of federal prison for everyone that is monitoring. Like I said, and it's also serving for a prosecution that's going on. For purposes of prosecuting an entity, the people of the state, they are documented as one prosecuted. But you're talking about what is federal prison. Those that I documented, all of those that are present right there, and that's speaking to what is that prosecution and what is necessary as a matter of justice. While that entity is monitoring, engaging in that gang conduct, they're speaking as a gang, they're monitoring as a gang, they're threatening as a gang. All right, and I want to be clear, the gang that is the Upland Police, group stalking, pacing around on Euclid Avenue right now while I'm standing outside and the fake sun is over my head at the Upland Public Library, where the entity is also sounding plane activity. Just like you saw yesterday, where the entity is flying over the Upland Public Library by airplane, at the same time at 9:45 a.m., where I'm sitting outside of the Upland Public Library yesterday and reminding you about my location inside of a different city such as Montclair. But more than that, I've used that time example on more than one occasion. It is currently 10:07 a.m., and so I am inside of what is the Upland Public Library now. This is P.O.C. I'm going to show you what is impossible light activity. First of all, this is two shadows that I have, and this is orange radiant light. It's appearing on top of my shoe. It's not disappearing as you step in light. Ordinarily, because you're talking about the trajectory light, this is also appearing in the shade. This is not normal light. That's directed light coming in this direction. This is what is the environment where they're group stalking. And I captured their license plates on my podcast already. They're group stalking while I'm inside of the store. They're maintaining presence. Doing so with minor children. I got close-up images of this group stalker. He's a sex offender, him and the female in the vehicle, while they're engaging in this sex offense, this terrorism, the fake sun you can see reflecting on their windshield. It's right here above my head. This is the same 7-Eleven where the entity is keeping a fake sun over me in the evening, which you can see in the video where the entity was engaging in an ongoing light show. I'm going to prosecute 7-Eleven. It's a company engaging in sexual violence, terrorism, demons maintaining presence at the venue, monitoring with him, directed light while this demon drives by. 5JZT856. Understand that's the criminal conduct that demons are engaging in. He's just driving by, directed light swiping all across the property. It's entirely demonic. All right, and they do that across your person. That's the sex offense. And that's the act of a demon-possessed person. This is Satan that's present through the environment, not possibly the sun, and that is not possibly sunlight. That's not occurring when you're driving by. He's driving by let's break this down, this is common sense. This is supposedly the sun here. You're talking about what is no reflection of any sunlight that's going to create that light activity. This is a demon. And engaging in stalking with impunity, it is the grounds of federal prison. In addition to when the entity's flying over my head by helicopter or stalking by police, and they act with such impunity, federal prison. All right? But like I said, we've already surpassed that. The people of the state, a lot of people are going to federal prison for that which I'm establishing the precedent for. At 9:45, in addition to that, understanding what's not the sun while it's here now and remaining present after 6:30 in the evening and aiming lights through on multiple directions into the depths of that store. That's impossible light into the crevices, and that's what I showed you yesterday. Directed light while I open the door inside, directed light while they open the door outside. While the fake sun is present in the morning, that's not the sun, and that's not light activity that would be resulting from sunlight. And what you have is amplified audible activity while that same demon is stalking in the path. Understand? This demon is stalking in the path, 7LMD718. Understand how demons are surrounding. All right, and they're doing so in what is directed light while they're driving by, directed light, maintaining presence amongst amplified audible activity. And at 9:45 a.m., where I'm at the Montclair Transit Center, this is not possibly the sun. That's over my head at that same exact transit center while I'm walking through the parking lot at the Montclair Transit Center at the same exact time, all right? I'm also documenting the maintenance of the light source directly over my head at 9:45 in what are mutually exclusive locations. You're talking about what is an entirely different city, maintaining this same central presence, but also as I isolate the P.O.C, I'm here at the same address in the morning. I'm here at the same address in the evening, over 10 to 11 hours later. That is how you're identifying the demon possessed. Their criminal conduct, it does not matter what they're purchasing. It does not matter what they appear to be focused on or what they're doing. They are stalking. They're doing so in a demonic environment, and they're doing so on additional means of documentation, which is surveillance cameras. Alrighty, these are demons that are group stalking at this venue. This is P.O.C. 88KM182 has been engaged in surveillance. All right, this is P.O.C. at the 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, where the sun is arising. Okay, this is the sun, supposedly, that's arriving in alignment with me as I arrive at a later time. Recall my documentation just the other day when I already got here an hour earlier, 8:45, and I'm already documenting over by the library area, remaining present. This is not the sun in every way. None of that is sunlight. None of this is normal. And this is speaking to what is, again, federal prison. And this is the entity that engaged in assault with a deadly weapon, 7HALL. This is exactly the impunity that they act with. And I want you to see again, 5JZT856. And this is the fake sun right over them. This is P.O.C.
Hey, what the fuck is you doing? Let's make this license plate. No, what is you doing? You taking a picture of this license plate? What is you doing?
Who are you walking up on?
What is you doing?
What are you walking
What
up
is
on?
you doing? Who is you recording people for?
Who are you walking up on?
For people?
What are you going to do about it?
What
While
is you
I'm
doing with this phone,
Don't touch
girl?
my
What the
phone.
fuck is you doing
Get
with
your
this phone?
crackhead self out of my
You a
face.
crackhead.
No, you're a
Get the fuck out
crackhead.
of here.
You're a
Bitch,
crackhead.
get out of here, you weird ass.
No, I don't think
You
so.
work for the
You going to
police or
federal
what?
prison.
Bitch.
You going to federal
The
prison,
feds? You work for the
crackhead.
feds,
You're
bitch.
going to
Get the
federal
fuck outta here,
prison.
bitch.
You're going to federal prison.
weird ass
I got your B.
Yeah,
I got it. With the tattoos on your face, where are you from? What sewer are you from, Satan? What sewer are you from? Does that make you gangster? Because if I tossed you up, girl, I know you're not. I know you're not. You're an idiot. You're going to federal prison. You and your overweight minion. These are demons. You going to federal prison. Who you functioning at? You're going to federal prison. Who are you functioning at? Or what? Or what? You going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison. You're going. You're going. You're going to federal prison. That's what Satan does. This is P.O.C. 5JZT856. Let me be clear. The entity is monitoring with demons like that. Demons such as law enforcement are monitoring with demons like that. So you're talking about what is, first of all, that's an assault and battery. while they're engaged. She's throwing ice toward me, and she's engaging in what is harassment while I'm showing you what is the P.O.C. This is the personality of Satan, and that is the grounds of federal prison. Let me be clear, all the rest of them as well. 7JMH739, directed light, they're monitoring. Federal prison, I don't have to know her, okay? They're all monitoring together. They're monitoring to the same audible activity. All right, in the same exact environment, and very hostile while I document. They're not separate. 7HALO, the same condition and monitoring with them. All right, you're going to document, and they are going to federal prisons for that. 8P97056, the employees inside of the 7-Eleven. All right, covering up the license plate is no form. They're monitoring, group stalking together. All right, let me be clear. Let me get this. Hold on. Oh, covering up their BMW license plate. I'll get that in a second. 8YSZ473. You're witnessing what is, again, an ongoing focus. 8YSC473 is the license plate. I'll say hi to your license plate. What is your license plate? This is P.O.C. 7PJM440. This is P.O.C. These are the weirdos that are Satan of that demon possession. And you're paying attention to, again, while you are documenting the pattern of conduct, engaging in what is stalking, while you're revealing what is that demonic P.O.C., that ongoing hostility, because I can hold my phone and document, and I'm going to document, and that is exactly what is the grounds of that federal prison. So I want to be clear, all right? You're witnessing what is demon possession. You're witnessing what is that unfounded hostility by minions. Hold on, let me cover this up so you can see. By minions who are hostile to being documented, and they are under what is the direct evidence of that. All right, this is P.O.C. It is. This is the 7-Eleven, and so I want to keep this. I want to keep this content. This is directed light while this minion crosses path. 7PJM440. Just like these two hooligans that were right here monitoring group stalking the entire time. Very hostile to the fact that I'm documenting them. That is the conduct. That's the personality of Satan. That's a sex offender. Those minions are stalking in bathrooms. Let me be clear. Tracy Randolph, Stephanie Ortiz, okay? They are not separate. I'm giving you examples of the entity that's monitoring through the exact same. There is no pause. There's no separation. They're all monitoring. You have a demon that's engaging in what expressing hostility. They're all equally hostile. They're all of the same condition. And you are generalizing because they're in the same exact environment, that which is not possibly the sun, while the light source is remaining at the same location, aiming light in impossible manners inside of this venue into the evening. That's conduct of the P.O.C. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. That is an impossible environment that they are surrounded by. And then you have what is Satan that acts out, engaging and showing what is that hostility while they're witnessing me prosecute them. And so I don't care if you're tossing ice in my direction, engaging in what is threatening with your language. You have what is a bony crackhead. That's what her condition is physically. But you're talking about what is that which is a condition that you cannot physically perceive, but you know it by the environment that she's in. And I'm covering up because it's a little bright. But I want to capture this video because this is evidence that I'm going to use against the entity. So you have what is, again, 9:53 a.m. and this is the light source that is over me. There you go. And this is the environment where the entity is engaging in an assault and battery. In the environment where they're monitoring, the entity engaging what is an assault and battery with a deadly weapon in the environment where they're monitoring. And by the way, this light source is literally on the opposite side of the same street, okay? This is the pattern of conduct. And they are all monitoring together. They're not separate, all right? So I want to be clear. You just have one minion that's opening up their mouth, speaking on behalf of an entity that is, again, under the legal framework, speaking on behalf of the entity as well, because this is group stalking, which is the state's pattern of conduct. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:53 a.m. and this will be published on my podcast as well. All right, it's 11:05 a.m. I'm capturing still images of the group stalking conduct by this demon-possessed state actor, the employee of Upland Public Library. Her name is Joy. She appears to be an Asian female. She's monitoring with a minion that's under the age of majority, engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. Demons that are engaging in what is group stalking in the path, doing so both in the study room and also standing in alignment to me while I'm inside of study room number 1. And in doing so, stalking with noise while demons are keeping their back to you. And so they're doing this while you see the directed light that's on the floor inside of the Upland Public Library, which is speaking to the presence of the fake sun that's directly over the roof of the library. And at 11:05, where I'm capturing these still images, you can recall my documentation where I am remaining in the city of Chino, California at 11:05 a.m. as a matter of video documentation. I'm remaining in Ontario, California, within the gates of 435 South Bonneville at Mercy House, referred to as the Ontario Access Center, at 11:05 a.m. And it is, the light source is directly over my head in Ontario, they're directly over my head in Chino, California, directly over my head in Fontana, California, as I walk out of the Fontana Lewis Library at 11:05 a.m. And I'm showing what is that light source that's directly over the roof of that library in Fontana and moving as I walk outside of those entrance doors. This is speaking to what is the environment that Joy is present in, a demon who is stalking and monitoring and engaging in the psychopath terrorizing conduct of entirely focusing on me, doing so with one under the age of majority. That's relevant to how the city of Upland, the the Upland police are monitoring, but the venue that is the Upland Public Library is monitoring, engaging in that criminal system in the specific environment and utilizing those that are under the age of majority while they engage in what is an entirely sick and demented P.O.C, doing so on behalf of the state. So this is what Joy is doing, and I took a screenshot also what this demon is monitoring, the uploading of my podcast. And as I am in use of Wi-Fi, as I resume uploading, she's monitoring with the demon, the Caucasian female you see with the black shorts on in study room number 2, where the African bald-headed male was engaging in surveillance. It's the same criminal conduct, the same demon possession, a different face. Satan is using nothing other than a different vessel, and the state is using nothing other than a different third party. Same exact entity. Okay, so it is the same exact environment, and so this is surveillance that they're engaging in while they're monitoring on my phone, and I'm uploading my documentation to YouTube and onto my podcast. It's 11:07 a.m., and the placement of that engineered light is also speaking to what is a sexual molestation of my person. Walking through the venue and molesting my person with what is engineered light while I remain subject to surveillance. This is what the entity is doing at the museum, molesting with engineered light. This is what the entity is doing on the bus, molesting with directed light. This is what the entity is doing while I'm inside of the venue of 7-Eleven, while I'm standing outside and I'm showing you what's directed light on the ground. The entity is engaged in an ongoing sex offense while demons are stalking in the path. And that's exactly what's underway. And this is what Joy is engaging in. And she's engaging in also understand how those facts work. She's engaging in a sex offense with one under the age of majority with whom she is monitoring with. All right, you're stalking in the path. You're a demon that's looking at books with this little underage minion, and both of you are engaging in what is a group stalking together, and the creation of noise is occurring while you are stalking in the path, keeping your back to me, which is the conduct of Satan. That's keeping the third eye on me. This is a psychopath. It's currently 11:08 a.m. This is P.O.C. at the Upland Public Library. Okay, I want you to hear that. That's the amplified sound of what is pacing, a demon that's pacing. These are the employees that are accessing the doors around. It's the same thing that they're doing in the bathroom, using door closure as a means of amplified audible activity while they're monitoring. And these are demons that are engaging in what is pacing around. Engineered light is clearly seen on the floor while I remain inside of study room number 1. And it is currently 12:41 p.m., by the way. And you have the employees that are pacing in and out. So this is the older Caucasian female, and she is pacing in and out of this doorway, also joined by what are third party, well, these are state actors while they're working at the Upland Public Library in whatever capacity. They'll be classified as state actors, but this is nonetheless the people of the state inside of a facilitating venue, and the use of the same exact conduct because the objective is to engage in crossing of path. This is what these demons are doing, and so this Caucasian woman is joined by other employees and other they're either volunteers or minions. They're literally just engaging in what is group stalking and doing so inside of the library. So nonetheless, what I captured are they're pulling like a little wagon. They're engaging in what is pacing in and out. They're joining the Caucasian female who, again, they're aware that I'm taking pictures. And so you're entering in behind them. They're engaging in the same group conduct, pacing in relevant position, repeatedly crossing paths is what this is referred to. It's called patrolling. And they're doing so while directed light remains placed inside of the environment. And this is, while you hear that door closure, this is the sound of what is amplified sound of audible activity concentrated inside of the room while they are repeatedly pacing back and forth, while they are engaging in an ongoing effort to obstruct the ability to use the internet, slowing down the internet. The same thing on my phone, engaging in what is surveillance, group stalking in the study rooms in alignment to me. All right, and doing so while minions are sitting around inside of the venue, manning the path for in the event I go to the bathroom, in the event I walk through the library, they're maintaining ongoing group stalking inside of the library. So what I'm documenting now, what you heard is that door closure. This is the method of the ongoing maintenance of audible activity, in addition to what I showed you yesterday and what Joy, she's a demon, was engaging in today, keeping their back to me while they're stalking with noise. And this is used while they're staring at a bookcase and looking at books. And it's the form whereby you're hearing what is ongoing banging that occurs with simultaneity to what I'm doing on the internet while they are focusing their visual attention to a bookcase. This is Satan keeping its back to you while they're stalking you with noise and group stalking you in the path while directed light is present in the venue. The fake sun is directly over the library, the Upland Public Library. This Caucasian female, as I'm capturing images, what you're looking at is what is demonic activity, and it's also criminal. They're engaging in what is group stalking on behalf of the state, engaging in what is surveillance, and interstate stalking is what they're doing, monitoring with communication devices on the venue of the internet, and they're also engaging in what is demonic. This is terrorism. While they are pacing all around, they're routinely engaging in this conduct and creating ongoing audible activity, which is heard inside of the study room. As you hear the squeaky door, it sounds as though it's on a microphone. It's serving the purpose of the creation of noise. This is the pattern of conduct that the entity engages in while it is engaging in this ritualistic stalking system, which is accomplishing what is having an affect on the operation of the internet, the operation of the of my phone, and was simultaneity to what I'm doing on the internet and on the laptop and on the phone. And also, demons are doing the same thing with regard to my physical movement. Okay, so I make any sudden move. You're talking about what is a demon that engages in hurrying up to cross path, maintaining presence, pacing in and out, and doing so while they're using this doorway, which is the nearest location where I'm sitting in the study room, pacing through that hallway back and forth. Okay, it's entirely demented. You're looking at what is no form. There's nothing. There's no job you're engaging. There's nobody that you could talk to. There is nothing that you're not going to be distracted from what is the identical pattern of conduct. This is what the entity is doing all night long at the museum, using planes and helicopters and the sounds of trains and sirens and the sounds of traffic to do so. While I'm inside of a building, which is nothing other than a facilitating venue, while I'm inside, subject to the ongoing ceaseless pattern of conduct by the state of California, which is also satanic, the entity keeps the light source, which is not possibly the sun, while, again, 12:45 is the current time right now, fully documented what is the maintenance of this light source, which is not possibly the natural environment. This is speaking to the satanic pattern of conduct, while a light source, ignorantly referred to as the sun, is maintaining mutual presence directly over me in the city of Fontana, in the city of Chino, in the city of Ontario. Okay, I'm documenting my presence as I remain fully away from the city of Upland in the inside of the Upland Public Library, and I'm capturing what is in documentation, fully documented, a wealth of documentation. What is that maintenance of that light source that remains in its zenith over my head? And this is until the end of the day. There is no mistake about what the entity is doing with it, maintaining its light source. And so the entity engages in with the maintenance of a light source over me, and doing so to the end of the day. And that's mutually exclusive with what is any sun that's going to be over the roof, therefore creating any sunlight through the roof, touching the walls and the floors inside of the Upland Public Library. And so, like I said, this is where they are pacing around. This is where they are engaging in what is noise creation. This is where they are doing so while monitoring documentation. And this is, again, speaking to the venue where it's at. The state of California is also engaging in what is sexual violence, because that surveillance does not stop inside of a bathroom. That ongoing knowledge of what I'm doing inside of that private space does not take a pause. That ongoing pacing conduct in the engineered light, the presence of the engineered light, the presence of the sun, is the direct evidence of what is remaining subject to surveillance. That criminal surveillance, that invasion of privacy, that ongoing group stalking, which is serving criminal monitoring, is occurring while panties are down inside of a private space. Sex offender, okay? A demon-possessed sex offender. Very, very creepy, entirely disconcerting and disturbing and demented and predatory. All right, so understand that. This is the significance of the images that I'm capturing. And this is the same conduct. You're talking about what is a different face, the same exact demon possession, the same exact focus, which is myself as I remain subject to this P.O.C. It is currently 12:47 p.m. And this is providing context of the significance of what I'm documenting. So I will zoom in on the light. You're looking at what's the environment where they are not walking by, they're crossing path. You're looking at the environment that I've shown in a wealth of video documentation, where the light source is directly over my head as I walk out of the study room. And I'm showing you that's the fake sun. As I walk out of the entrance doors, it's no longer over the roof. It's directly over the edge of that entryway of that of the entrance of the library. Or while I'm standing again on D Street, it's in between those two, and by it I mean the light source, which is an impossibility. It's speaking to Euclid Avenue, again, runs north and south. The entity is keeping the fake sun on Euclid Avenue, aiming light onto me and through whatever venue that I'm on inside of a building, and being on public transportation or walking outside, okay? But aiming it onto the bus at the end of the day. That's exactly what I captured on the bus this morning as I got on an hour later at 9:30 in the morning today. I got on the bus at 8:30 in the morning yesterday. I was already in Upland, California. It's the same thing the day before that. And when I'm in Chino, I'm nowhere near Upland, California, in order for any light source to be over me at 9:30 in the morning at the 7-Eleven. All right, so it's clearly not the sun, and the sun is not remaining over the roof of the Upland Public Library all day, creating light onto the floors, which you're looking at right now inside of the Upland Public Library, where it is in an entirely different city over the roof and over the back portion, which is Sierra Avenue, where I'm documenting this P.O.C. in Fontana, California, where it's remaining over the same exact walkway, the entrance of the Chino Branch Library, where I'm remaining there for the duration of the day, showing you what is exclusive, a grand departure from any coexisting or possibility whatsoever of the sun being over the roof of the Upland Public Library in Upland, California, all day as well, in addition to being over the entrance of the Chino Branch Library, being over the roof of the Fontana Lewis Library, and over me also at the back portion of that Fontana Lewis Library as I walk to that portion, which I've also documented at or around this time. It's 12:49 p.m. This is Stalking with the Fake Sun. They are pacing around in this venue. The door closure that you hear is what they are using as an ongoing method of noise inside of the venue. This is understanding what the entity is doing with the sound of a train, what the entity is doing with the sound of the helicopter while stalking, pacing over my head in engineered light. Okay, the light's not on the floor inside of the Upland Public Library. The light is on the walls of the museum. The light is molesting my person as I am outside. The government maintains no legal right whatsoever under the existing Constitution to engage in surveillance, whereas where I live in my own home, where I am remaining in a hotel, where I am walking on the sidewalk outside. It has no right to do so, and this is documentation of what is criminal surveillance and also what is informative with regard to the federal imprisonment of the people of the state while they are engaging in what is criminal surveillance in concert with that government, whose pattern of conduct is ceaselessly underway, waging an ongoing threat while they are of a very terrorizing condition, which is demon possession, which is also a matter of objective evidence in that impossible environment. That impossible environment, that scientific impossibility, is a reference to, it is a revealing of, it is objective evidence of demon possession. All right, it's currently 12:51 p.m. inside of the Upland Public Library. This is P.O.C. And this is documentation which I'm capturing in still images as I remain inside of stateroom number 1. Oh, I want to point out something specifically. As I captured still images of the Caucasian female, she's the older lady, kind of like a humpback kind of posture. She's walking back and forth, keychain around her neck and doing so. And I'm showing you, I'm zooming in on the directed light that you can see on the floor. And by the way, it's after 12 p.m. The fake sun is over the entranceway as I'm present at, I'm arriving here during the 8 o'clock hour, just the day before yesterday, I believe. I'm here at what is 9:45 in the morning while I'm sitting outside of the Veterans Monument outside of the Upland Public Library. It is after 12 p.m. The fake sun is moving in the direction north to be remaining over the roof, which is supposed to be the form of how light is appearing through on the floor. So this is in all ways not the sun. That's non-movement of what is, again, not the sun in order for that non-movement to occur. Not the sun. That's why it is referred to in the exact manner that it is, a fake sun. The entire environment is nothing but a stage where demons are group stalking. Okay, group stalking is the work of Satan. It's the criminal conduct of the state of California. That's engaging in a satanic system. But like I said, I want to be clear what I documented. While these demons are pacing back and forth, and I captured still images of this well, she's a state actor, of this Caucasian woman with the keychain around her neck. I'm capturing what is her, she's got like sandy blonde hair, and she's already crossed path. She is walking, and I'm showing you a zoom in. I'm zooming into the directed light where you see she's crossing path repeatedly. As I capture this, she has closed the door and she's crossing path. And as I'm in operation of my communication device, by virtue of capturing these images, the door is used as a means of audible activity. And so you have what is the sound of creating the closure, the sound of the door closure that you just heard, all right, as I started recording. This is occurring after she's already exited the room. She closes the door. She's crossing path. I'm taking pictures. The door sounds again. So I just want to document that. That is called stalking with activity. And the very door is the means whereby the form, like I said, this is demonic activity. It is not necessarily the case that the door is even closing while you are hearing the sound of a door closure. So I want to break that down. That's what I'm revealing. That's what I'm documenting. That's what I'm speaking about when I'm outside and the entity is engaging in what is the guise under what's supposed to be the sound of the train, what's the amplified sound of a helicopter, amplified sound of planes, while that same very conduct is occurring while they're flying at the same elevation. And when they seek to do so inconspicuously, you don't hear anything. It's demonic activity, period. Understand that. Demons are concerned with what is engaging in, what is matching what it is you hear or see with what it is you are looking at or hearing. So in other words, because there's a door right here, the audible activity of a sound of a door is coexisting with what is the walking out of a doorway, which I'm aware of that there's a door here. And so you're talking about what is that conduct that's coexisting together because you're witnessing it. And the objective is for the demon possession, the demonic activity seeks to maintain itself as concealed, not wanting to reveal itself as what is demonic. Everything that's occurring around you, everything that you're hearing and seeing and witnessing is demonic. And like I stated, the directed light that is present is in no way relying upon the presence of that light source physically being above the roof of the building. This is the work of Satan that is placing light on the inside of the building. You have what is the sound of the audible activity of a door closing after she has already closed the door and walked out of it. She's in the middle of the hallway. She's far away from the door. It's occurring with simultaneity to my use of my phone. This is demonic activity. That is the act of what is stalking with activity. Demons engage in that. And by the way, you are talking about what is another minion that's just remaining present inside of that room and opening and closing the door with simultaneity to my snapping a picture. It's equally demonic. This is not a coincidence. And I just want to document that, but I also want to point out the demonic activity that the entity is engaging in. It is not requiring actually walking out of the door and a door being closed. This is demonic. You're talking about what is the use of methods of audible activity based on the type of venue that I'm at. Because I'm inside of a study room inside of the library, you're talking about what is demonic activity. They're pacing around an engineered light and creating what is noise that is supposed to be attributed to what it is that is surrounding you in the environment. So because there's a door here, they're stalking with audible activity, pacing in and out of a door, and that's the form of the audible activity. So this is the same thing which you are witnessing, the absolute opposite, because the entity engages in what is a totally inexplicable activity creation. You cannot hear the elevator at all inside of the bathroom, and I've documented that. You cannot hear the voices of children, anybody walking, anybody running. You're not going to hear that through the ceiling while I'm inside of the study room. The entity has engaged in that conduct. This is revealing what is demonic. All right, it is not necessarily requiring the fact that they're actually walking in and out of the door to create the sound in the study room of the sound of a squeaky door and it slamming. I just want to be clear. They are crossing paths with simultaneity to audible activity. And that method of audible activity is speaking to what is a squeaky door while they're monitoring on a communication device. So I just want to be clear on that. And I wanted to point out that demonic conduct while she is walking by, crossing path. As I take a picture of it with her back to me, the door opens and closes again, which is called stalking with audible activity. And the particular method is based on the presence of a door that's by the study door. So those details are relevant. Satan, the devil, is in the details. If you've ever heard of that, that's actually true. You're paying attention to the details of what is impossible light. You're paying attention to the details of what the entity does with directed light. You're paying attention to the details of what is the duration of time of a light source, revealing what is an environment that you are surrounded by. And it's an absolutely abnormal environment. It's a scientific impossibility. In the same way that while the entity keeps, for example, again, when I keep capturing the demonic, the fake sun that remains over the roof of a building, the address of a building, I captured this in Chino. I captured this in Fontana. I captured this in Ontario. I captured this in Upland, where I'm at, in the venue of the Upland Public Library. While it's keeping that object visible, it's no mistake, it's directly over the roof. The entity's aiming light onto the floor and onto the walls as though that's the sun over the roof, creating that light activity. Therefore, that exclusive presence of that light source, that's not over any other state. That's not over the sky space over any other state. It's not over, for example, downtown Los Angeles over the courtroom in LA, while it is remaining over the specific roof of the Upland Public Library. This is common sense. There's no mistake about perception. It's directly over. The entity engages in conduct as though it is maintaining perpetually present. It's always moving as any vehicle that I'm on is moving in that direction. The actual sun, however, is not maintaining that ubiquitous presence in its zenith over everyone, everywhere that you're at. In addition, while it's over the roof, which is very exclusive documentation because I'm inside of the building and I'm looking up the roof, the light activity that's on the floor is speaking to the presence of a light source, which is not over anywhere in Los Angeles, over a street in Los Angeles, over the freeway. It's directly over the roof in order for that light activity to exist. This is common sense. Okay, this is what's necessarily the case. And while I'm speaking to what is the light activity that's present, the evidence of what is, again, while it's demonic and the entity is placing light, you're prosecuting by what is understanding the scientific impossibility, the referencing a reference to the demonic. All right, because there's only one sun And by virtue of the light activity that you're engaging in inside of the venue, that's not there. That's exclusive with regard to what is not over any street in Los Angeles, not over any other state such as Texas. It's not remaining at the same time while it's creating this light activity, and being over the roof is very exclusive. The light source is remaining present at the end of the day. It's very exclusive. It's revealing what is. It's not just right now. Remember the documentation in its totality. It's remaining over me at the end of the day. After hours from now, as I step out of the door, it's remaining directly over me, directly over the roof. 5:02 p.m. Okay, 5:35 p.m. All right, I step out. The entity is following with the light source on this same street, Euclid Avenue, back to Ontario, the same intersection. That's exclusive. All right, and in doing so, it is not remaining over at the same time over everyone in the state, because it would not just be the addresses where I'm at, Fontana, Lewis Library. The Omnitrans bus is Route 61, 66, 83. It's not just the Upland Public Library, which, again, the entity is using the roof of the Upland Public Library, suggesting that that's the sun over the roof, and that's sunlight coming from the sun that's over the roof. Very, very exclusive. Okay, that is not anywhere else, and it's also remaining present, not anywhere else, in other words, at the end of the day, following me back to the place of origin where I get on any means of transportation in the morning, the Ontario Museum at Euclid and Hope Boulevard. Very, very exclusive. That is capturing the demonic, because you are witnessing what is in the environment in Los Angeles and in Texas and in Florida and every other state. That's revealing what is the demonic. While the entity keeps a fake sun, in other words, over me all day long, which is a matter of objective evidence, you are witnessing what Satan is doing in this country. It's the demonic real-time control of the environment. That's what I'm revealing, because this actual sun in and of itself is not remaining in that exclusive manner over the roof of a building all day, aiming light inside of that building. And that is all day from morning until evening, while also engaging in what supposedly movement, as the sun is defined, scientific facts surround the conduct, the character, the activity of the sun at places other than the roof above the Upland Public Library, Euclid Avenue at the end of the day. That's impossible, and it is not occurring at the same time. It is mutually exclusive. This is the environment that they're pacing around me in, by the way. This is revealing what's going on, not just in California, as I'm revealing federal group stalking and monitoring, but what's going on in this country. All right. And again, let me be clear, because it gets bigger and bigger. It's not just this country. This demonic activity, this agenda of Satan that's using a government, that's using a people, is not limited to a jurisdiction. That's what the U.S. is. It's just a jurisdiction. Demonic activity is not limited by the geography. This is what the entity is doing. This is what's going on in the world. These are the times that we are in. This is evidence of what is unmistakable. And everyone, you're talking about what is coming to the same table, because what you cannot deny are scientific facts that we are all supposedly bound by, agree on. Has nothing to do with we don't have to talk about religion. But like I said, when you're capturing what is a scientific impossibility, you are speaking to, it's revealing, it is objective evidence of what you cannot explain. And I'm letting you know what it is that is inexplicable. It is Satan itself. It is the demonic. And these demon-possessed meanings are going to federal prison. All right. It is currently 1:02 p.m. This is P.O.C. So that is amplified audible activity of what is impossible to hear in the bathroom, the elevator. While you have demons patrolling in and out of the bathroom, directed light fills the venue of the Upland Public Library. Employees are slamming doors, which is the amplified audible activity serving the purpose for monitoring in the private space, while physically indisposed in the bathroom. This is group stalking at 1:40 p.m. at Upland Public Library. This is the perpetual sex offender. This is P.O.C. This is a group stalker in the bathroom. Creating activity in the private space, following into the bathroom for that ongoing criminal purpose, which is also predatory while you're manning the path on behalf of the state and a demon doing so. And what you'll see outside of the restroom door is impossible light activity. You're going to pay attention to that directed light. It has the shadow of the staircase that's appearing on the floor, while the entity is necessarily maintaining a light source above the roof in order for what's supposed to be the form for sunlight. Then that is suggesting that that is the sun that would be remaining over the roof of the library at 3:50 p.m. when it's present over my head at 8:45 in the morning. This is P.O.C. This is a sex offender. While they're monitoring everything that I continuously upload onto the internet, this is the state that's stalking by helicopter, repeatedly stalking into a bathroom. That's a very violent sex offender. This is the P.O.C. It's 3:50 p.m. Alrighty, I want to document the sex offenders that are employed here. They are employed at a state facilitating venue. They are group stalking, and they're group stalking in what is a private space. And they are also engaging in what is terrorism as demons that are amplifying audible activity. And so employees such as Elaine, she's a violent sex offender, and she's engaging in what is the creation of audible activity of one whom she is monitoring inside of a bathroom while private activity is underway, doing so on behalf of the state. This includes also the demon that I captured, group stalking, Joy. Okay, these are employees who are working here that are engaging in sexually violent monitoring right now while I'm in the private space, and the entity is amplifying ongoing noise inside of the bathroom while the intentional environment is maintained. That's why directed light is inside, because they are indeed group stalking and they are engaging in sexually violent surveillance and stalking conduct. Entirely demented, and this is the identification of sex offenders. Here you go. Here's another third party. It's crossing path. And this is the personality of Satan that engages in more sexual violence. As you document, that's crossing a path in the bathroom. Directed light fills the venue. And this is a stalker that wants to be around me where I'm sleeping, wants to be around me where it is, including in bathroom stalls. The entity that's stalking by helicopter, that's the entity that's stalking in a bathroom. All right. And coming in and engaging in presence in the private space is called group stalking in a private space, the conduct of the perpetual sex offender, and doing so in their cartoon environment. These are demons. That's activity creation, and that's why that demon came in here. All right, that's Joy and Elaine. Those are employees who are engaging in sexual violence inside of the Upland Public Library, monitoring with minions such as I've identified before, Tracy Randolph. These are those who are engaging in this sexual violence, and they are of an entirely demented condition. The same entity, let me be clear, the fake sun is over the roof of the Upland Public Library. It's over the 7-Eleven, which is on the same block this morning at 9:45 in the morning. That is no movement any direction west at all if this was the sun. I just want to be clear. That demon is coming in while monitoring documentation, engaging in that obsessive stalking. And as I stated, you have what is the maintenance of audible activity while engaging in ongoing group stalking, this obsession in the private space, speaking to obsession, sexually violent, stalking conduct, and also while I am continuously documenting. Okay, the sex offender comes in to engage in that ongoing P.O.C, stalking somebody in a bathroom. All right, so I want to be clear. It's 3:54 p.m. That is P.O.C inside of the Upland Public Library restroom, where actors such as Tracy Randolph and Elaine and Joy, of those whose name I can recall immediately, every employee is engaging in the sexual violence together while they are corporately listening to me in a bathroom. They are corporately going to be prosecuted as a sex offender and engaging in what is an impermissible threat and unprecedented sexual violence while these demons are patrolling in and out of the bathroom in concert with them, and they surround the bathroom with what is demonic activity creation in the same way that I illustrated and documented that the use of a train, for example, outside in directed light, that's what they're doing in bathrooms. Okay. So while in the bathroom, it's loud booming noises. That's impossible audible activity. They're demons. Okay, so I want to be clear. This is terrorism while demons stalk you in a bathroom, by the way. This is exactly what will be the grounds of prosecution. This is P.O.C. It's 3:55 p.m. Katie. That's another sex offender's another means of identifying a sex offender of the Upland Public Library. Katie, she's a tall Caucasian female, dark purple hair. She likes to color her hair a lot. She's a sex offender. This is another one, identifying another one that is engaging in that P.O.C. While minions are just patrolling in, that's what you hear as they are monitoring my documentation. They're demons that are creating noise that's amplified inside of the bathroom while ongoing awareness of what I'm doing in the bathroom is underway. So the entity is engaging in what is that criminal surveillance. That's also predatory and entirely sexually motivated. It's very, very demented. that is sexually offensive, and it is also demonic. Okay, and so I want to be clear. Those are just some of the employees' names. There's Miss Kiki, the African-American female. I documented her. She's an employee here as well. Tracy Randolph. You have what is the minion that was driving the black Camry. I documented her at the 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue. And this is on the day where I'm capturing the fake sun at 9:59 a.m., which is the same time that I was at the 7th Street Theater in Chino, California at 9:59 a.m. And that was the point that I was highlighting as I was capturing her in operation for a communication device under the fake sun, as that fake sun was hovering over that gas stall hood area where the demon possessed engage in what is stalking, group stalking, and hiding behind a purchase that you're making at a facilitating venue. She is one of those, and then she just drives right on down to Upland Public Library where she's engaged in sexual violence. She's an employee as well. Not, I don't recall her name, but I do have her license plate documenting her on video. She is an employee here as well. These are sex offenders, and I'm just speaking to the venue that I'm at, those that are readily identifiable, because I am seeking to expose which is necessary. You're engaging in what is entirely demented and sexually violent. They're engaging in surveillance, standing around and group stalking in book stacks. All right, engaging in what is criminal surveillance. There is nowhere that you can hide. The directed light is the direct evidence of what your condition is and what you're doing. And you are an entire sex offender doing so in a bathroom. And so the entity, let me be clear, the pattern of conduct, as I've shown you, the demonic behavioral pattern, stalking with audible activity creation. The entity is creating loud booming and banging inside of the bathroom, first of all, which is uncharacteristic. What is it? What are you knocking out walls? What are you doing? Or like I said, this is the behavioral pattern. The entity creates noise. So noise, which is highly impossible, the sound of the elevator. You cannot hear the elevator in the bathroom. Nonetheless, understand the purpose. The objective is to create audible activity inside of that private space. That's an entire sex offender with that intent. And that's entirely demonic. That's the ongoing demonic objective. It is achieving what is ongoing obsessive monitoring conduct. Want to be clear, you're subject to what is criminal surveillance by the state of California that is engaged in what is invasion of privacy by an entity. Okay, this is not a person invading your privacy. This is the government and the people of the state monitoring on behalf of that government, all of which are invading privacy together. That is stalking in a bathroom. And I literally capture what is the light source that is present by virtue of placement of impossible light on the floor inside of the Upland Public Library. It's literally on the ground, and you can see, like I stated, the shadow of the staircase. So you are witnessing what is entirely demonic. These are demons. That light, first of all, is impossible because the actual sun's not going to be over the roof of the Upland Public Library. My documentation speaking to the presence of the light source over me at the Upland Public Library at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is presence upon my entrance at 10 o'clock in the morning. It is 4 o'clock in the evening right now. That is not the sun. That's a scientific impossibility. In the same way, when I exit, that's not the sun that's keeping in alignment with me. And that's not any light source. That's not the sun that's present where it's supposedly in ongoing movement. And it's supposedly remaining over not just a building, but I mean, everybody, where else are there other cities that's supposedly seeing the sun that's over them? For example, San Francisco somewhere, San Diego somewhere, but you have what's light that's aiming down into the roof of this building, which is exclusive sky space. It's necessarily requiring the light space that's not over some other city. It's not doing gymnastics in order to bend from where the light source itself, I'm talking about the object, and light is coming downward through the ceiling, which you can see because there's windows on the roof of the Upland Public Library. And this is how it's very informative with regard to what the entity is doing with light, and it's revealing it's the entire breakdown of the system. That's not possibly the sun, as you are applying what are scientific facts, what we know about the conduct of the sun, the presence of the sun, the ongoing movement of the sun, the absence of any scientific ability, the absence of any scientific facts which provide that the sun remains stationary over a building, which is what the entity is doing with the light source while it's over the roof. And the thing about the roof at the Upland Public Library is that it has windows at the top. So you're engaging in what is creation of light that's touching all over the ground that has the shadow of the staircase in it. What sunlight from the sun that's above the roof, aiming light at a downward trajectory, creates a shadow of the staircase flat onto the ground, where that is normal light coming down at a downward trajectory, coming down through the window onto the ground. That is not normal light activity. First of all, you're talking about what is not the sun based on the duration of time, as I'm showing you in the morning, and it's still 4 p.m. The light source is here. Second of all, what manner of trajectory of light is going to create the shadow of the staircase flat onto the ground, where you're seeing what is also the shape of the window, and then that shape of the window has the staircase pattern in that. That's engineered light. Like I said, it is the work of Satan. When you're looking at engineered light, this engineered light that's on the floor, that's the shape of the windows that are that you see on the roof, is not necessary at all for what is the placement of directed light inside of the venue. In the same way that demons are driving by and light is manifesting on buildings as they are driving by me, on sidewalks and on the streets while they're driving by me, it is the work of Satan. It has nothing to do with the sun. Okay? Has nothing to do with whether it's the placement of that light source. These demons engage in this conduct at nightfall as well. Directed light across surfaces as well. Okay? Like I stated, this is a breakdown of that whole system. And these are literally, understand their condition. This is Satan. That's an entirely terrorizing threat. These are freak weirdos who are following me into the bathroom. While they are outside of the bathroom, they're listening to every word that Erica, Lorraine, Spencer, myself is stating about their conduct in real time. And a demon decides to let me stroll in there right now and walk past her, because that's the demonic objective, to maintain presence all around. That's what group stalking is. That's what you heard. That's why I shut up. I got real quiet because I want you to hear them open the door. I want you to hear Satan walk by, close the bathroom stall. Everything that they're doing is about stalking. And you need to understand, put yourself in the place of the target individual who was subject to this group stalking system. First of all, it's already terrorizing. The government is stalking you day and night with helicopters, police who are of an entirely demented condition. And then they're following you into a place such as a bathroom where you take your clothes off, where you're engaging in what is conduct that should be private, but you are aware of the fact that you are being pursued by helicopters and police officers, by people who are of freakish conditions, very, very peculiar, very demented, and they're following you into the bathroom. And understand the pattern of conduct is such that the target individual is silenced. So let me be clear, Satan is acting out in such a way as though it is impervious while it's stalking you in a bathroom. Okay, very flagrant with the activity creation that they engage in while your panties are down, intending to offend you when you are not documenting. Understand the entity that is conducting itself, posing an impermissible threat as though it is impervious to documentation, impervious to prosecution. Now, the entity is still posing an impermissible threat, although I have overwhelmed it with documentation. What you are hearing in the bathroom is that impermissible threat. You continue to engage in sexually violating while you are sitting back and watching the documentation accumulate against you. That is federal prison. Understand all the ways in which the demons are going not past go. They're not collecting $200. They're going to federal prison. You engage in federal prison, you engage in the impermissible threat, you engage in what is infliction of additional harm, you engage in posing any threat to the life, in addition to what you're already posing by your condition, by your stalking conduct with the state. You engage in waging any sort of impermissible threat by virtue of continuing to stalk on behalf of the government, doing the government's bidding, and you're documented, you're going to federal prison. And that's just necessary with regard to breaking down this system, what is satanic at its core, but also this system of the people of the state. They want to go to federal prison they shall go, because the government does not have the right to, and nor shall it do it through any sex offending minion that is engaging in the bidding of the government, and doing so by also stalking you in bathrooms, because that's exactly what the direct evidence is demonstrating. And you have no business in any private space. Nobody. Unless you are presenting evidence of the fact that you're subject to surveillance by the government, you don't have any business in a private space. The government has no business in a private space, and that's what that directed light demonstrates. Every single last one of them. Direct evidence of their condition and the criminal conduct. You're present in the private space. You're creating audible activity in the private space. It's very, very easy. Even if I didn't have anybody's license plate, you could walk into a private space and name the venue, and everybody that works there, federal prison. Everybody. Okay, this is how you're going to literally break apart this whole system that the government had, this whole bullying system. You're going to bully them with federal law. You want to engage in the bidding of a government that's threatening the life day in and day out of an American citizen, you will go to federal prison and you will not get out. Okay, and not only that, you will have a criminal record speaking to what is an exceedingly violent sex offender, never before contemplated. And there are so many repercussions with that, so many fields that you will not be permitted to be in with regard to even creating a living for yourself. If and when you get out of federal prison,
Okay, so like I said, it's 4:11 p.m. And so you're listening to, as I'm revealing to you what is demonic activity, I'm revealing to you what is an egregious level, an entirely sick pattern of conduct by the people of the state who are inside of the venue, that is the Upland Public Library, identifying those that are monitoring and doing so in the bathroom while these psychopaths are sitting back on the internet trying to obstruct my ability to even upload the documentation that they're monitoring. And then you're stalking in a bathroom. So understand the audacity and the threatening conduct that the entity is engaging in. And that's the personality of Satan. It is necessary to become acquainted with because that demon possession is directly relevant to the prosecution for a violent sex offender that is demon possessed, which is the satanic targeting system that the state of California is operating. And it is doing it on a ceaseless basis. All that evidence that is accumulated against these sex offenders that work at the Upland Public Library, monitoring with the demons, engaging in surveillance in the venue where they are acting hand in hand, engaging in sexually violent surveillance in that bathroom, while the government's flying over me day in and day out every day. Even when I'm in Fontana and the government's flying circles around me while I'm in the Fontana Lewis Library, I will use that to prosecute the demons at the Upland Public Library. That's how that evidence works, because it's one entity. And this is what I'm stating with regard to the ease with which you may document, because the entity is an obsessed stalker and it's acting as a group. So that evidence is used against every single last one of them, all of them. Every single last one of them. So like I said, that is the sex offender. That's Satan itself that prances into the bathroom and is literally engaging in what is provision of additional evidence. Not that I even need it. I don't need it. But the obsessive stalking conduct by a violent sex offender shall be absolutely submitted against those who are engaging in that pattern of conduct, who are outside of the doors engaged in the same exact P.O.C. When I'm documenting the sex offender that is Amazon Prime using its planes flying over my head, guess who you're able to reach into? Those companies who shall be subject to federal prison. They're engaging in the same exact criminal system, doing so in a commercial vehicle, which is no shield, no sense of anonymity. You will be held accountable with regard to the ways in which the entity is acting through the people of the state. The people of the state like to include their companies. Well, those companies will be plastered onto the world scene as engaging in such terrorism and sexual violence, capable under federal law, which shall be enforced, to be identified, prosecuted, and civilly liable for sexual violence against the American citizens that they are targeting on behalf of a government. Okay, in the state of California. It is currently 4:13 p.m. This is federal stalking by entity in a bathroom. This is P.O.C. It is currently 5:56 p.m. Exiting the Upland Public Library. And license 95686V2. Monitoring me inside of the bathroom while my panties are down. X281EO. 9AFN167, 8TCE792. These are sex offenders engaged in bathroom monitoring. 7HVE736. License 8YAP942, I believe. BG, I can't really see that one, who's pressed that. 8MVK785, 8JWN568, 8ULZ565, 7BPC665. These are third parties that are crossing paths, and so while the entity is monitoring me in the bathroom, inside, the entity is maintaining directed light. The light source is directly on me as I walk right out of the entrance doors. Moving, by the way, from what is 8YBV802 from what is D Street. As I captured images of the entity group stalking in the bathroom, that picture you see the fake sun at, I'm facing the D Street side of the library. The entity is keeping the fake sun up at the entrance as I captured upon my exit on many times. That's exactly where the fake sun is, not along D Street. It gets along D Street while I walk to D Street, okay? 8WOA913, 55216M2, WISC096. And this is monitoring inside of the private space inside of that venue. And while subject to that, this is just reading the same exact entity that's engaged in ceaseless group stalking. And they are indeed sex offenders engaging in monitoring as with Elaine, okay, with the rest of the employees inside of the venue of Upland Public Library, monitoring with communication devices on behalf of the state. All right, the state and the people of the state are sex offenders engaging in that sexually violent, sexually motivated and predatory group stalking conduct. VIXX L1V 13591W2 90134N2, and it is 5:58 p.m. And again, exiting Upper Public Library at 5:55 p.m. on surveillance cameras. ZCY535. 7VZC621. 6PVZ871. 8DGU127. 'This is a tow truck. Mr. T's towing with no license plate. Oh yeah, I do see it. It's on the driver's side, though I couldn't see it. That's Mr. T's towing, crossing path. License plate 7YAX067. Group stalking with a minor child in the passenger front seat. That's a male driving that vehicle. (7FYG375), 7RZJ226, 7TLA911, 5SRH185, FF094 handicap, 5DCU193, 8RJF373, 8KJU199. License 6AKW726. It is 6:01 p.m. License for NOC 168. (9AKF 247). All right, monitoring with minor child in the background. License in the back seat, excuse me. That's C305P1, a female in the passenger seat. They have a young child while they are tracking my steps as I cross the street. This group stalker that's engaged in surveillance engages in what is crossing the street at the same time that I do, while the fake sun is directly aimed on me. They are group stalking, monitoring, terrorizing another individual, engaged with a minor child in the vehicle. Okay, just want to speak to that. It's 6:01 p.m. 6VUM 927. 4VKD 776. 9094, I believe. That's Arizona. 6GNC. Okay, let's see that one. 06764F3. BV5K954. 7M. Okay, let's see that one. 7CPP294. 8MCL455. 02899S1. 8SCA066. 7MNW859. 7ANR533, 8XEW192, 5GBM185, 6YRF099. Seven FOS213, 8SQM831. 8XOH093, 7BYN860, 5PEZ189, I believe, 7ZCP745, 8YYH094, I think I read that one, 6APA753, 6TCG044, 7ZCP745, AWVU844, 6GCD738, 7KKY233, 8SVK191, 6MEJ026, 4UWA109, 7SHZ035, 98MC326, 7TFU970, 11165N1, 6HOE610, 7KWS681, 8VV, I can't really spell these guys on, 7HUL840, and it's 6:05 p.m. 6WKA790, 7FRC064, 7VCG018, NOOTRGD, 6TDB284, 8PQK366, 8EMG548, 6XOE120, 14856X1, 4VUY541, 7CLD285, 5XKG795, 8YHG518, 8NKG467, I believe, 7VRW465, 8TPU759, 8DXD112, 6DNV482. Those third parties that I just recited are engaging in what is group stalking with law enforcement as they're crossing path on a motorcycle. 7BVU125, 8WKS758, 6DNV650, 0777, 7F3, 6722, 6G1, 8PHD064. License plate 8WEV330. Five JHD 488 01235F2. G902JL. Monitoring with the entity that's amplifying plane engines over my head. License 7VRW 429 04673S1. 7CSX 085. C717NL, 8KLN 104, 7LYT 520, 7PGZ 272, 8EAJ 868, 160 and 85 Nevada. Seven XPP784, 7SZU082,
7YFV 509, 7CTN 238, 8SQV. I can't really see that one. That last one, you can scratch that one. It's 6:08 p.m. And again, that's plane engines. I'm speaking to the state that's engaging in the additional acts of terrorism, the people of the state that are just obsessively stalking on. That's relevant to the way in which you're prosecuting, as I'm reading names. 7ZOS 671. And the people of the state, all of the people of the state, are also going to be prosecuted for that. But I'm specifically identifying those that are waging a threat while the government is acting through them. They're literally giving the entity feet, all right, to engage in stalking. You go to federal prison for that. 5NAC 501. 8ECK 680, 7JYU 709, BN40C32 paper, 8YWF 094, 8KLA 057, 7MWC 045. License 8KCK 418, and that's Metrolink engaging in facilitation. It's audible activity and light activity at 6:09 p.m. 8TJA836, 7PYU 085, 8PLS 582, 8PDZ 364, 8NEF 592, 39064D2, 7ZAB 566, 6NIV 655, 8ZRS 488, 8CZU 067, 7KLE 782, 70008J3, 7UIT 103, 7PAL 826. Understand Metrolink is not only cause for what is light activity and audible activity, it's cause for what is massive light activity while demons are all piled up in relevant position patrolling. With light activity, 7 CSG 111 pushing their brakes is a light activity. You have a bunch of demons lined up in relevant position to me, group stalking, creating light activity in the aggregate together. They are monitoring on behalf of the state, and that's a company to be prosecuted for that massive facilitation, by the way. 9ACC 812, 5ZIN 649. This is how the government does it. The government does it by the numbers, all right? And you're going to have a number in federal prison, all right? And that's just necessary because of the system that the entity is operating. 8LDW 797, 8FDC 903, 8CXH 203. It's also necessary when you're establishing precedent and showing the rest of the country what they don't want any parts of. By the way, 7YJL 698. License 64402F2. Allure Image is group stalking. 711 is group stalking. 7SJL 562. 8NW. I can't see that. You scratch that one. 21056G1. 4KDS 302. 5M. You scratch that one. LEKIDZ. The First United Methodist, that little fake church, is they're monitoring. I'm on Euclid and 9th Street. So this is, as I'm showing you that demon fest inside of the 7-Eleven, they're all demons monitoring. This is ongoing patrolling. All of them are just ongoing methods of the same obsessive stalking conduct. BJKBRK. 6VYG836, 07208K3. MCFLYX5, 6ZXC289, 7RYN251, 6LWK350, 41759W2, 7FNX91. Can't see the last character though. License 8NVY516. Six BJR 342, 6 GTF 659, 8XJL 423, 8 NBP 359. That appears to be an Asian male. Seven GHA 354, 8 NTD 074. And I did capture a still image. This is proof of Metrolink's use of its train tracks, which is facilitating state surveillance and terrorism. Metrolink is going westbound on the train tracks, leaving from the Upland station. 6RTJ 792 at 6:13 p.m. 7BIF 032.
8CMY6275747DO3. Or OD3, excuse me. 8WXT732, B317B1, 6XLW900, 8XDN598, 7KUB305. 8TZC944, 4YTU165, 6ZKJ661, 8KNJ360. 47292G2, 6TWP505, 6PXA019, 8GZR898, 8LMC969, 8ULV681, 8LJL728, 8WKM937, 7RNF447, 8RPH444, 5AKG951, PFT7152 Texas, 8NQW172, 8YCM454, 8BPH410, 8GBN295, KATHLEN, 8PHZ425, 7FBS 252, I believe, 8BCP548, 8GXH558, 5UZK235, MENTAY2, I believe. These demons that are driving on the opposite side of the street are monitoring with the minions whose license plates I'm reciting as they're driving southbound on Euclid Avenue. And they are together engaging in what is absolutely demonic. You have impossible light activity that's swiping across the Hoff Orthodontics building while those demons are driving northbound on Euclid. 6UBJ436 is a demon, okay? This is demonic activity. License 8DRH829, and that's an African American with dreads, it appears, and that's a demon. 7JXF969. 8REF306, 8AOR862, license 7UZP992, 7GAL818, 8UDF572, 7XGK779, 5BJW916, I believe. It's a black Nissan Altima. 8RRH442, 7NAL819, 8GLD, I can't really see that one. 8YTC675, 6YFD066, 301UP handicap, 6AMT737, 7YAB484, 8JDV059, okay, again, Hoff Orthodontics, the address on the building says 195. That will be 195 Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. That's absolutely impossible. Light activity as impossible as the directed light that you saw plastered on the roof inside of the Stater Brothers in Fontana, above the gas stalls at the 7-Eleven right here in Upland. 7TJL839, 8YZM260, 9APZ592, 7TTK489, 8RCN806, 6PZA033, 5RAH408, and these are all demons patrolling around me, stalking. 1PSC, 8ZVD305, 8YTT356, 8KPS484, 6TCL173, BONDGRL, 21662X2,
9AUA 772, I believe. 05874Y2. 7VXK 067. 8FEV 585. 8KYZ 966. 7GBV 710. 8XKG 665. 7SJN 604. 214-5582, that's UPS. 50127W2. 5TJN 523. 8DQW 780. 4201182. 8SZT 653. The demon possessed, being prosecuted for unprecedented criminal activity in the state of California, and it is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. They are monitoring me with communication devices while they are stalking as an entity. License 8UIF 854, and their very demonic behavior is the way in which they are monitoring with communication devices with technology, this engineered light conduct. 8UZS 980, 6XNC 823, 8WML 699, 7GSL, I can't see the rest of one, 8ZQG 575, 8EXF 276. That's the beauty of documentation, because you're able to reference prior incidents of absolutely impossible conduct, the scientific impossibility, the evidence of demonic conduct, which the entity is engaging in replicating everywhere I go. 8PES 682, and directed light is fully established as a reality. 00645K3, and that's exactly what these demons are doing while they're stalking me. 454-ZHG. 7NIN 625. 7DXK 235. 8LYK 253. 2PAPI 4U. 8PCZ 151. And you are thereby also understanding how a company, how a public establishment may be prosecuted, shall be prosecuted as a group stalker, where the entities filled that venue with what is entirely demonic, which is impossible light activity. You're stalking. You are stalking where your address of that public establishment is located. That's group stalking. That's exactly how companies shall be prosecuted as well. License plate. You've made your business the venue. 8XBP253. It is the dwelling place of the minions that are the demon possessed, that are group stalking, where you are engaging in that criminal conduct on behalf of the state. 8HXG651, 7MPH057, 8MBB479, 96688S2, 7HDB460. Just as you're witnessing as I'm documenting 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue. That is Exhibit A. Prosecution of companies and public establishments, it doesn't matter where it's at. 8EOE 888. And that's because the government is such an obsessed stalker. That's why. 7PCT 082, in that environment, an impossible one occurring over and over again, is called the P.O.C. 8DTZ 573, 8KEX 225, 8PXK 752, 73058-5C. It looks like an out-of-state plate. It's on a white utility truck. It is currently 6:22 p.m. These demons are just crossing path in an entirely artificial environment. At the cartoon environment, there are a bunch of demons, hellbound minions. 7YUS254, an inferior population. You're literally an inferior being. You're stalking somebody else. This is your life. You're consumed with it. 8FTB241, but you thought nobody would ever know that because nobody can see Satan on you. But they know by this environment that's around 5PLW549 and their own conduct of essentially spitting out light while you're stalking somebody. 8JKE078. That's how you know Satan's all over you. 7VVP645. 5KXP832. And there's real legal boundaries for such people. 8WZN 830. For example, 7UBZ 879. Such a population, such a government has no business violating your privacy. They're all kinds of sex offenders. 6NRX365, just all up in the public restrooms, placing American citizens under surveillance. Okay? And sought to do it in a concealed manner. now continues to do it, showing how violent of a sex offender they are. While they're monitoring their documentation, they are aware of their identity being revealed. 8ZIV284. Okay, that's a sick people. And that is an entire predator. Okay, sick. That's why I document it, because it needs to be known. And not only that, not just known, you're going to do something with that knowledge. You're going to prosecute and legislate. 7VEB941. You're going to put Satan in his place. Okay, those creatures can be amongst each other, stalking each other with regard to what's going on with each other's genitalias. 6ANN372. It's 6:24 p.m. 7GGE 834, 7GCF 834, 8YIP 675, 8SJV 707, 8VO7 461, 4XOH 432, 8WVP 461, 8LSX 045, 6882OG3, 7JLX 221, 8WAC 419, Amazon Prime group stalking, they're demons. 7KUU160. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not Amazon Prime. 84077L3. It's the same shape vehicle. 8G78149. But let me be clear, it's the same entity. Amazon Prime is being documented right now, but let me just be clear, technically that was not Amazon Prime, the minion affiliated with that specific company, crossing paths with me right now physically. Okay. License 7J20092. 5SPS 616, 21930M2. JOP 104. Four MXX 926. 8JUK 680. 6JUK. 6UAA 226. 8ZUR 787. 7ZHD 219. 5FFY 061. 6UAA 876. 8KWP 561, 8TNG 263, 6LSJ 420, 8CQP 283, 64150RS, 8TPT 908, 7GWK 717. 98996H2 84367D2 CB51P88 paper. 7DEJ 472. Um, 6874OB2 8XBA 060 8HFB 615. 6WBK 921, 7GIC 507, 8YJH 543, 7ESJ 098, 8EJG 404, 6PVU 848, 8EOM 108, GE001 handicap, 7VCC 859. And as you hear, everything that they're doing is about me. They're group stalking, and this is simultaneous documentation of what is harassment by an entity engaged in the P.O.C. 6XYJ062, BU70Z6 paper, 7U56311. They're a bunch of loud demons, and this is what they're doing in a bathroom, following you with noise, keeping you surrounded with noise in the light and physically surrounded by their persons. All right, I'm just sitting outside documenting them more by name. Identifying the demon-possessed population, which includes American Medical Response, of course, heavily documented. 8SYC829, 8YJC926. Vehicle 52859 is American Medical Response, license 73467F2. 5LUC484. 8CVS270. United States Postal Service crossing path. It is, by the way, 6:28 p.m. 7FBS729. Stalking with light activity while driving in the fake sun. 8GYH093. That's a Caucasian male with a tacky Hawaiian shirt on, flashing his headlights while he's group stalking. That's actually a demon that's manifesting light. It's a method of light activity, and that's also a specific form of harassment that he can be prosecuted for that. That's 8KUY882, 8EDZ887, 8ZJZ827. Understand the ordinary target individual's position, but for documentation. This is serving for what is the ability to prosecute, but for documentation, but for a resolution. 6AXR329, but for an ability to redress your constitutional rights in a court. 8RZW172, these demons have every intention to engage in such methods of targeting you, harassing you, offending you, surrounding you with what you are becoming aware of what they're doing. Satan likes to do more of it, to taunt you, to terrorize you. 8VGJ436, that is a specific form of harassment. It will be added onto your prosecution. License 8PDM982, 7UZN932, 8UCS379, 8YHX099, 6539, 3L2, 8UUT056. WRF 625, 8VXZ 893, 392. I can't see that one. 7EIE 561, 6ZTC 821, 8VHI. 8VHT024, I believe. It is 6:31 p.m. 8WXB924, 8NUT907, 8BHC368, 93410H2. BTRYNRD 5ZOX649, I believe. 7PFY. I can't really see the rest of the one. 4XYD. We could scratch that one too. 8XGR228, 20160K3, 3MOY835, 7VZC621, 8RMF374, 5BPD404, GROOT75. 8CHN085, 61469G2. It's 6:32 p.m. License plate 5GUU249, 6FYJ170, 5SQA148, 8V97773, I believe, CB12T69 paper, 8CKS266, 8KSV975. 8EER000, 6BPR192, 7LBF809, 7FBL457, 7JWF819, 32107N2, 8RNS127, 8ZPX030, 800DQD, I believe. 7C17801, 5TKT. I can't see the rest one, but I've read that one tons of times. They're heavily engaged in group stalking. It's a ashy blue Scion with a faded license plate. It's 6:34 p.m. Eight BXK778. 5ZXH564, 8N, let's see, 8NLL844, 7EHH700, 7HZZ621. Eight JIE873, 8 PBF079, 7EXN130, W129XL, 7VAJ723, 7ZTN207, 7FCW208, 6WRK000, 6E57032. 8TKT712, 6WCK824, 8N86828. Omnitrans is crossing path driving northbound on Euclid Avenue right now. License 54261K3, UNCOIL, I believe. I can't really see that one though. You can scratch that one. CC83Y90. Omnitrans crossing path at 6:36 p.m. Bus number 2255. 5M76670. 7J18-979. It is 6:36 p.m. It's 6:37 p.m. Eight UGA 565. Eight TQL 195. 7XOD 518. 8 VIE 163, 7 JCL 073, I believe, CC42T31 paper, 8 CMV 095, 4 GOF 409, AAPL 777, 4 PDB 939, excuse me, 8 GTE 915, 8 DMJ 458, 8 8YWM 002, 8 JFA 539, 05846S1. 8 JJR 104, 8 TDA 081, 8 CKE 890, 8 KRH 996, 8 TLF 574, 8XOV 997. Seven ZTR 803 36122W1 MDN. I can't really see the rest of that one. 7 VWC 973 02907D3 7M VK 805 5U 60144 8UHX 741 36902C3 XP86943. That's Velocity Truck Rentals carrying McKinney on the back of that truck. 8ZAK154 8SDZ261 7RCT072 8ZKN. I can't see the rest of it though. You can scratch that one. 3XCP075 95265. It's got the two small letters, which I can't really see on the side of it, but those are the regular size characters. And that appears to be a Caucasian male driving that black pickup truck. License 7NLP 547. TIE 735 56313U2 6ZMA 072 7PRA 498 7SQA 110 8ZNX 574 6KLN 888 AY 7Z288, I believe, paper. 2604JO, 8SJS 779, 8WLW061, 5GIX 292, 7Z359, excuse me, 7ZTU 406, 8KBY 469, I believe, 8JUH 311, CL 905 handicap. License 8PRF 254. These are demons that are engaging in intentional activity creation. This is the impunity the entity acts with. You have to be very mindful of that when you prosecute them. 5HVH 861, 7ZOH 957. All right, Satan's going to learn the hard way what it is absolutely not free to do whatsoever. JAKES JK 8RFL 228. But as they engage in it, you're learning the personality of Satan. This is what you need to know. You're talking about what's the reality of demonic activity, the conduct of Satan, presence of Satan through the people, through an environment, the criminal conduct of Satan, the ways in which you're looking at what is ordinary conduct on a surface, but it's criminal conduct. 8CAB 954 in its substance. You're looking at elements. 8SQA 047, and there's nothing ordinary about it, and under a fake sun and an engineered light, amplified audible activity. It's a threat. It's an ongoing threat. 61633W2, 8ZNY 101. 5ZED 722, 6MLP 450, 6ZNN 440, 8ANV 037, 7REE 676, 6FDM 757, 55400L2. That's Bedazzle My Events. 6NKY 593, 76144R2. Seven UWK 143, 7 SVE 246, 7LYW707, 8JJX079, 8RVZ046, BC60135, it's 6:44 p.m. 6UEZ 466, 6XHV 522, 8GUN 624, 8WYB 401, 4UKJ 943, 8HNA 917, 8BZF 031, 8LIF 906, 8RIK 516, PH 2861, 6VKY 16, I can't see the last character though, 6PEU 502, BN95S44 paper on a gray Mercedes, 7BBJ 529, 8SOG 125, 5WPX 657, 6STC 235, 6GTL 368, 6WHD 127, 8HNF 9, I can't see the rest of them though, 8ZQH 623, 8VCW 832, 5LRY 384, 7UKL 815, 8ZDF 022, 7RND 889, 8YEW 780, SNKE 350. That's a red Mustang with racer stripes down the middle. While they're monitoring, it's absolutely pathetic. There's nothing cool about that. It's a demon. License plate G83PA. G83PA. That is like a colored, like a dark gray / blue license plate. Doesn't look like a normal California license plate. I can't see that license plate. 6M71239, 7TGZ 337, 8MSW 495, 9AQT 456, 5TFC 564, 8HDM 181, 8XTS 828, 7DEL 920, 8UVS 605, 7E69 389, 8RCV 708, 7DNX 496, 7VLU 324, 8XEV 835, 8KWD 267, 5GWK 067, 8IDF 349. Nine AQH 457, 7NJH 894, 7RNP 432, 8LIN 981, 7MHD 627, 4YX, I can't really see that one. Let's go to that one. 78699U2, 5DQB124, 8CJ, I can't see the rest of them. You scratch one. 8WGL 743, 6RBH 605, 7KKP 815, 5PLM 576, 7GID 971, 8KKE 547, 8ELX 947, 96926H2, I believe, 6NFP 598, 8VOG 261, 8YKW 183. It's currently 6:49 p.m. It's called amplification. Amplification is nothing other than an ability for me to articulate to you what demonic activity is underway through sound. Okay? 7MFJ 545, CPKO 697, 7HCJ 780, TO 36C0, 53266P2, 82039F3, 7HNK966, 6LYN831, 7CRW989, 6JIR863, United States Postal Service, vehicle 8811147, 9AAH167, I can't really see that one, 7UMC505, 13947L2, 8YZV162, 8R38229, 7HSK337, 8XYL721, 40605X2, that's UPS, 8VJZ282, 3JUM686, 7MOF231, 6TU, I can't really see the rest of that one, 7YSE002, that's 6YSE002, I believe, 8U14659, 8UNE389, 7DSN379, 8ZOZ374, 7TAM287, 7FTT264, 9AVC633, 7HAV599, 8VIU913, 6THK866, 7ETT771. I'm sorry, 7ETT771, yeah, I believe. 7ET7711 is what I think it is. 8LUS994, 6MYM670, 91485H2, 6MYH860, JJX8623, 8PSB091, 6NND650, 8WFF374, 8FOJ424, which looks like laminated paper. It is currently 6:52 p.m. Omnitrans is arriving right now. 7TPU851. 7XRA375, 8YFF565. License 8HDB834, 8ZNR868, 7FYS332, 8ALV452, 8BXJ493. License 1545686, bus 2355 is the correct bus number for Omnitrans. It's 6:52 p.m. It is 6:53 p.m. and I am on the Route 83 bus. That's now going southbound on Euclid Avenue. And so is the light source. ZWG022, 8BLB257, 62259P2, 7YJK076,
We're at 8th Street and Euclid Avenue. 8EUR 916, I believe. 6YAA. I can't see the rest of the actually. 8UOF 399. 92051C3. It's crossing path. In case I read that one before, they're crossing path again. 6MITY. I can't really see that.
7th Street.
777 T603RO. The correct license is 6MIY748. 8ZPN949. 7KVV083. UKY 612 6225 9P2. ZNE 910, 6:57 p.m. All right, the bus driver, the operator is employee 2811. LZW 942. WT, I can't really see the rest of them. 9AKW284. And 6SXW980. Hammer that one. Amazon Prime Group stalking at Euclid Avenue. FTWH T45 is monitoring with Amazon Prime while Amazon Prime is using their hazard lights in relevant positions in directed light. 7F. I can't really see that.
Ontario Civic Centre Transfer Station, connecting to Lot 61, 83, and 87.
7F12821 02161X2 5VWU647. We're at Holt and Euclid Avenue. It's 7:02 p.m. Any employee 2811 driving bus number 2355 with license 1545686. 7KKS 023 7Y33192 7THW 314 6LEK 630 7ABW 342 4VY Y804 8GBZ 622. I think I read those while I was on the bus. 8TBA 116 7XJR 963 8TQS 029 BIP 729, that's out of state. 8JJS 681 8RD, I can't really see the rest on 6BSU 411 5XAT 125 7VAJ 723 7WXW 730 I think I read 6PMJ 037 8MZS 984 8TBA 116 you can't see that one, but 8GJP 433. This is the female driving a Toyota Camry, turning her headlights on and then turning them off as I turn toward her. This is the demon aiding those other minions who are crossing path. This is a Latina female driving license plate 8GJP 433. License, they're all demons. They're driving at impossible lights in the middle of the road. CC77B21. Amazon Prime 051372. License 45261K2. 8EFV 723. 5RYR 602. 7MBX 944. 7GBV 872. And T-Mobile is monitoring while that demon is creating that light activity in relevant position. And 6RZD 964 8JUZ 328 6YSE 136. It's facilitation while demons engage in such conduct. It's the identification of a demon, all right? Their criminal conduct, and it's also identifying everybody else that lets you know who's next to them, who's around them. They're all monitoring together. 6304 9W2 5LUC 808. License 8DGN 356 6DRE 018 8J, I can't really see that one, 05718E2 7UGE 868, I believe, 8FNC 859. An employee 2811 has been loitering in relevant position, creating light activity. And again, that's license 1545686. License 8YIC345 8GIA 623 8HTY 155 SOYDARX 8RZD 269 8MJV 176 7SLW 053 0107 2E3 C373 F1 8NXE 242 6GRN 298 8XDC 283. It's 7:06 p.m. USPS vehicle number. Go ahead. The vehicle number 1261520. License. These are paper plates. They're pacing, making U-turns. License plate BN 65181. That's a Mercedes, a burgundy colored Mercedes.
7ETX304, 5RHN008, 6TSU147, BU38Z50 paper, 7UNC502, 7RQA092, 6AXN22B, I believe, and that is a minor child in that vehicle. It's like a teal-colored sea green Mercedes. It's a female driving it with a minor child group stalking. This is terrorism, and this is speaking to what are demons, and that condition is relevant. Her custody of a child engaging in criminal conduct, terrorizing another. You also have what is a sex offender in custody of a child. That's why I document it. It's all relevant. It is 7:07 p.m. 7SHJ134, 5PNY368, 7SFX872. 8ZSJ756, in case I did not read that one. It's 7:08 p.m. 7YHX222. Omnitrans Route 87, license 1545945, bus number 2361 at 7:08 p.m. 8EIP289, 7UXL066, 7SKH496, 8PKX797, 7LDG101, 7UDS353, 6SCY209, 5ZQW 767, 9APZ730, 8XUK842, 8VWA128, CC46A33 paper, 8SAT506, 7N28511, 8HLJ577, 5CGX505, 7EIP831, 8TLV976, K705, JO, 8TJY352, 8KPL595, 6GBR701, and this is Papa John's license plate 8JTA734, 8VCW801, and Papa John's facilitating venue on Euclid Avenue, covered in directed light as well. So they're crossing path group stalking. They're a public establishment where they're located. They are group stalking. License plate 8RXL751. VQC616, and it's currently 7:10 p.m. And the people of the state are group stalking at the museum, present for what is crossing in path. Stalking 6AVH562, stalking where it is that I remain, whether that be in my own home, whether that be in a hotel room, whether I'm sleeping outside. These obsessed stalkers follow everywhere, including in bathroom stalls, which is exactly why and how they're going to be prosecuted. The sex offenders, the obsessed stalkers, that they are based on their own conduct. And it is incontrovertible evidence. That's why the impossible environment follows everywhere, including in the bathrooms. It is 7:10 p.m. and these minions are indeed monitoring, stalking in the path, operation of communication device, directed light touching all over the museum as I've shown you. The fake sun follows to the intersection. They're stalking in the path while I'm documenting license plates at the intersection. It is currently 7:11 p.m. That's amplification. It's 7:18 p.m. And the people of the state that I documented group stalking at the museum are monitoring to that amplified audible activity.
just stalking in the path, sitting right in your face, threatening. That's what the people of the state engage in. That's what's to be addressed under additional federal legislation. It's 7:19 p.m. Ongoing demonic activity, everything that you hear. It is 7:20 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I am currently now, and I'm uploading my podcast. The use of the train is for purposes of monitoring. This monitoring conduct is also demonic activity. This is everything that is exaggerated with regard to volume, even creating sensational activity, impossible to occur, okay? This impossibility is an ongoing reference, an ongoing indication of that which is demonic. All right, the train that I took a picture of, there is actually a train on the tracks, and you're talking about what is an exaggerated level of volume. The train that is at a distance, but the audible activities suggest that you're actually hearing the literal tracks and the wheels on the train running. That's what this noise is. All right, so this is speaking to an ongoing method of audible activity. The entity engages in this for prolonged periods, and also, like I've also stated, as you pay attention to my documentation, I've stated the entity engages in the same exact method of activity creation when there is not even any train on the track. All right, and the sound, you can pinpoint sound. The entity engages in what is nothing other than surrounding with the sound of a train. It's not coming from a precise location, for example. It sounds as though it's coming from the north, the south, the east, and the west. The entity does the same thing with sirens. The entity does the same thing with different methods of audible activity. It's nothing other than demonic conduct. It's a sound that's occurring in a certain particular method, which demons, Satan itself, seeking to conceal the ongoing course of demonic activity that surrounds you, seeks to create methods of noise around you in ways in which you will attribute to what you see. So you're going to hear trains because there are train tracks by you. Oh, yeah, that's what that is. All right, and it's actually an entirely demonic environment. It's actually an entirely artificially engineered environment, everything about it. From the light, it's not even normal sunlight. That's not even possibly the sun. It's an abnormal, unnatural environment. And that includes the environment that you are hearing. All right. Stalking, demonic stalking is based on stalking with ongoing noise, doing so in that engineered light while maintaining group presence. That's what the P.O.C. of group stalking is. And it's demonic. It's 7:22 p.m. This is P.O.C. The entity is still stalking, just flying over me in circles. It's 9:54 p.m. And this is the entity this is a demon that's with access to a helicopter. This is the state of California. This is entirely demonic. This is what is group stalking. And this is the state that's acting directly as you classify the entity. This is direct action while the entity is using a helicopter to engage in relevant position and group stalking conduct with the people of the state. And the entity is flying over me while I'm at the museum, group stalking, and flying in the direction east over the museum. And I captured video moments earlier, and so I want to capture it on my podcast as well. Just as I stated in that video, the entity is not going anywhere. The entity is stalking, just like I was documenting all day long. That's exactly what these demons are doing, and I'm breaking down for you, understanding what these demon-possessed minions are doing while they are group stalking all around everywhere that I go. And this is the entity that they are stalking in concert with, the state of California. Okay, it's currently 9:55 p.m. and I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and this is the ongoing documentation serving for the prosecution of the people of the state. This is a demon-possessed population. The demon-possessed population is engaging in what is referred to as group stalking. Group stalking is a state surveillance system. It's the state of California's pattern of conduct. It's a pattern of conduct that belongs to the public entity. The public entity is engaging in what is criminal monitoring, which is state surveillance, in concert with the people of the state. And because it is entirely satanic through and through, you're talking about what is terrorism. This is terrorism on its face while a government is stalking by helicopter.
But it's not just that. The government is stalking by helicopter, and this is demonic activity underway. It's an entirely demonic environment. The abnormal light is what is revealing that the ongoing demonic methods employed to maintain activity, creation, and relevant positioning, which is the group stalking, the group stalking conduct itself. People that are of this same condition, demons, a bunch of demons that are stalking one person together, that's conjured up in the pit of hell. This is the work of Satan, and it is operating over the government, the state of California, and that's why you have what is the government that's stalking me by helicopter. And this is what is group stalking. Group stalking is demonic, and it is also extremely criminal. And so this is on my podcast in order to document this is what's going on, and I also capture video, and the entity's not going anywhere. And this is the documentation that I have been capturing all day. This is what I'm documenting on an ongoing basis. This is the demon possession that I'm confronted with at the 7-Eleven while this demon is engaging in what is the conduct of for grounds of federal prison. She is going to federal prison. Everybody at the gas station at 7-Eleven is going to federal prison. They're monitoring group stalking on behalf of this very government. That's why you have a government stalking me by helicopter. That's why I have a wealth of evidence of an entity engaging in what is legally defined as stalking in the incredible manner by helicopters. Okay, it's currently 9:57 p.m. and exactly everything, every detail that I continuously reveal about what the demon possessed are doing and the ways in which they are doing it with regard to what is the audible activity, everything that you are hearing, everything that you are seeing, what is revealed through the light activity. I am revealing to you what is a demonic environment, the processes of the demon possessed, how they operate, and how demonic activity exists in plain sight, because this is criminal conduct, and it is starting with what is understanding demon possession. And that's exactly what's wrong with this government actor that's stalking me by helicopter. And as I am inside of, for example, like I was today, the Up in Public Library, and I'm revealing to you what these demons are doing step by step, what their patterns are, the environment that they're in, and how you were looking at the same exact pattern of conduct as I am in a different setting, but it's the same exact P.O.C. Okay, and that's exactly what I continuously reveal, and that's why the entity is stalking me by helicopter. This is what is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a monitoring system. It's state surveillance and terrorism, and it is speaking to what is a very specific condition, and that is demon possession. It's currently 9:58 p.m., and this is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the government is stalking me by helicopter as I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by a demon-possessed entity, an inferior population. It's demon possession. That's why they're stalking me together. That's what group stalking is. This is P.O.C. Here is my stalker, the state of California. And Union Pacific, which is monitoring with the state. You're going to reach into companies because they're going to federal prison for that. As loud and clearly as you hear them, that's how loud and clearly they're going to federal prison. That's amplification. It's demonic. Monitoring with the government that's flying over by helicopter. Understand the sound of helicopter activity is audible activity, the sound of an amplified sound of a train. It's occurring in engineered light. This is entirely ritualistic, demonic stalking conduct. And it's occurring under what is a company name, Union Pacific, monitoring in concert and on behalf of the state of California. Union Pacific represents the people of the state. And you're paying attention to the immediacy of the use of this audible activity as I begin recording. The government is flying over by helicopter right now, flying in circles. And doing so as it is monitoring my documentation. Okay, this is Satan that's sitting up monitoring my ongoing real-time documentation. This is why they're flying over me by helicopter. You're flying literally over me repeatedly by a helicopter, and you're listening to every word that I'm uttering. And the moment that I start recording the fact that you are stalking again by helicopter, immediately a train sounds in order to drown out that sound of that helicopter. It is ongoing audible activity in relevant position and engineered light. Union Pacific is a sex offender. That's exactly how that company is going to be prosecuted. And you have what are going to be flesh and blood persons related to what is this company to be held accountable, and that includes federal prison. You're not going to use a company name to engage in threatening the life on behalf of the state of California. You go to federal prison for that. Just like the minion that you see who has a drug issue. This is the crackhead at 7-Eleven today at 204 North Euclid Avenue, with whom the state of California is monitoring me. and she engages in what is an assault and battery, okay? Whether she was high or not, I don't know, but I know her condition is demon possession, and she's going to federal prison for that. The government, the state of California, is not going to use any crackhead. It's not going to use any overweight minion. All of them are demons, and this is what the state of California is stalking in concert with. All of them monitoring together, and they're all of the same condition. A bunch of demons. They're demons. This is demon possession. There's a sound of the helicopter. That's my stalker, the state of California. Sounding helicopter and not going anywhere, obsessed with me, and that same obsession as I'm revealing to you what is the obsessive stalking conduct of the people of the state while I remain inside of the Upland Public Library, while I'm on the Omnitrans bus, while I'm sitting at the bus stop reading their license plates, and they're driving all around me in circles, maintaining presence, using all manner of what is trains and planes and their vehicles while they are all focused on me. It's obsession. It's stalking. It's group stalking. And they are an inferior people doing it. And I'm going to prosecute them for it. That's what you're witnessing. It is currently 10:06 p.m. The sound of this train is amplified in volume. This is demonic. It's terrorism. And the people of the state, the demons that I documented, more added onto that list, they're all monitoring. It is currently 10:06 p.m. and that's exactly what the role of the sound of the train is, and that's going to be the prosecution of Union Pacific, because all it is providing is an ongoing guise under which the entity is just stalking with ongoing noise on a constant basis. All right, and that's why you have that immediacy of the sound of a train. It does not actually require even any train on the tracks, and even when there is a train on the tracks, you're talking about what is the demonic conduct that the entity is engaging in, and it is amplification, that which is louder than it actually is in reality. And you're talking about what is dealing with Satan while it is acting over people in a government that's practicing the satanic targeting system. And they are monitoring with communication devices. But let's be clear, this is prosecution for what is terrorism, while an entirely demented entity is stalking me with an entire helicopter. That is what I captured in video. This is what I continue to document. And you have what is stalking by Union Pacific, terrorism by Union Pacific, a sex offender in what is Union Pacific. That is nothing other than a guise of what is just surrounding me with ongoing noise. The noise method is nothing other than the guise of what's reminiscent of the sound of a train. The immediacy of the creation of the audible activity is revealing what is nothing other than the demonic pattern of stalking with audible activity. It is currently 10:07 p.m. That's Union Pacific. That's group stalking with the state of California. This is P.O.C. And the state is stalking, flying by helicopter over my head, while that sound of the train activity is the audible noise to which the government is monitoring. So I want to be clear. P.O.C. That's the entity stalking by helicopter at 10:15 p.m. The moment I start recording, immediately turning down that volume of that helicopter. All right, intending to terrorize with the sound of that helicopter. The moment that I'm seeking to document the sound of that helicopter, indicating that stalker that is the state of California, which is a demon-possessed one, an entity stalking, immediately turning down that volume of that helicopter. This is speaking to what is demonic activity, by the way. All right, this is 10:15 p.m. And as I've captured in a plethora of video, the entity is indeed stalking. The entity is indeed a stalker, and this is what is group stalking. And the entity is not going anywhere as I'm capturing the entity flying around and pacing over me by helicopter. You have nothing other than what is the loser in federal court who's going to federal prison. So you're talking about the government who's going to be sitting in federal prison while they are stalking, and they've already been documented as a stalker, which is serving for the prosecution of the people of the state, who are also going to be subject to federal prison, by the way. But you're a stalker who is already established as such, and so all the entity is doing is trying to conceal my ability to document it more on my podcast right now. You already know that the entity is a stalker. All right, hundreds of videos of the entity stalking me by helicopter. It's 10:16 p.m. This is amplified audible activity, group stalking by helicopter, flying around in a circle. It's 9:25 p.m. The Ontario Museum of History and Arts. See that directed light on the face of the museum, impulsible light activity. This is group stalking by the state, acting directly. It's 9:25 p.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is the ongoing pattern of conduct. I've been documenting the totality of an entity engaging in what is group stalking, a satanic targeting system. And the people of the state documented while they are stalking on behalf of that government. The people of the state monitoring in concert with that government and doing so in a specific environment, which is a reference to what is also the demonic. That is, in other words, the state of California that stalked me by helicopter, and they are of that specific condition, demon possession, while engaging in what is state surveillance while the people of the state are monitoring. This is engineered light. This is impossible light activity. As you are looking at what is absence of any light, and yet you have it what is necessarily horizontally aimed light in order to create the shadow of these columns. That's impossible light activity. It's engineer light. That's a demon that stalked me by helicopter. And that's the state of California that's engaging in demonic activity, which shall be prosecuted as terrorism, monitoring with the people of the state. And the entity is just engaging in an ongoing maintenance of noise, which is an engineered light. This is light activity, relevant positioning. These are the elements of monitoring, criminal monitoring. And this is monitoring that's in violation of existing federal law, Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. The entity, the state of California, that demon that's flying that helicopter is not going anywhere. They are stalking, the entity is stalking, as I continuously have documented. But like I said, the entity is engaging in what is crossing a path, which is the group stalking conduct when you're monitoring with communication devices and engaging in what is satanic conduct with the people of the state who are also maintaining presence around me in relevant position on a ceaseless basis. The government is not going anywhere. The government is stalking me all night long and using helicopters as one of the methods of the ongoing P.O.C. It is currently 9:27 p.m. 10:22 p.m. The stalker that did not go anywhere, flying around me, the center of its universe. Me, I am the center of its universe. That's why you're flying entire helicopters around me. That's a very high priority that I am. That's prosecuted as what is terrorism. That's entirely demented, and it's absolutely unlawful and unconstitutional for a government to be doing that. It is 10:22 p.m. This is the entity flying in circles above me. This is group stalking. That's the people of the state. They're going to federal prison as well. You need to understand that the group stalking system is engaged in by those that are of demon possession. Demon possession is a very common condition. It is one that you are not able to physically perceive. That is, unless you have the gift of discernment. But you are not able to physically just perceive demon possession on a person. It is something that is a matter of what is objective evidence, though, for purposes of not only the criminal prosecution of the demon-possessed population who place American citizens under surveillance in the state of California. The demon-possessed are engaged in this conduct. That's the condition of those that are group stalking, including the government. It's demonic activity, but also it is that which you are aware of based on the environment that you're in. It's an entirely unnatural environment. It's an environment that is a scientific impossibility. It literally defies scientific facts that surround the way that our environment supposedly, allegedly, purportedly operates. But what I've been revealing to you with regard to this engineered light, with regard to the light source that remains above me from the beginning to the end of the day, this is speaking to what is an unnatural environment. And that's a demon that's flying a helicopter. That's the state of California. Okay, engaging in what is the sponsoring of what is the criminal conduct that I'm documenting. For example, that Tracy Randolph and Elaine inside of the Open Public Library, violent sex offenders stalking in the bathroom, doing so on behalf of this government that is a very heavily obsessed stalker. That's why they're following me and stalking me in bathrooms. It's a violent sex offender. It's going to be prosecuted as what is the perpetual sex offender. The one that is stalking all the time, the one that is touching all the time, the one that is following into bathrooms and invading privacy as an entity is the perpetual sex offender. The perpetual sex offender is a demon-possessed group stalker. That is what the state of California is. And that's why you are listening to what is helicopter activity while the government is group stalking. You're monitoring them. It's monitoring me. Group stalking is a monitoring system. Monitoring with regard to what is communication devices. This is surveillance. That's why the government is stalking me by helicopter. Okay. And while I was recording it earlier, immediately turning down that volume, doesn't want to be caught. But then when I address the fact that they don't want to be caught, Satan, which is an arrogant loser, it's pathetic because you lose either way. Even when you try to contradict the fact that you don't want to be caught, so you act like you don't care. And then you're sounding helicopter activity, which is concession that you are stalking indeed. Why are you stalking? Because you're engaged in group stalking, like I'm documenting, like I've already established, like they're going to federal prison for. It's currently 10:25 p.m. and this is the entity that's flying in circles above me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. In what is engineered light, this is the P.O.C. of federal group stalking and monitoring, which the people of the state are directly engaged in. The government is not group stalking by itself. This demon flying in a circle over a helicopter is not doing it for funsies. It's doing it because it's engaging in what is a system that is surrounding me as I'm subject to surveillance. Surveillance by the people of the state and the government. Demons sitting around in their car, in ambulances, waiting to sound their sirens, waiting to engage in what is the absolute pathetic act of crossing path at a particular moment, creating any sort of activity, engaging in what is demonic conduct as an entity. They're sitting around monitoring with this government that's a demon that's flying over me by helicopter. They're monitoring together. Okay. And the people of the state are engaging in surveillance. I named many of them before coming to the Ontario Museum of History and Arts tonight. That those third parties are merely a sample of what is an ongoing presence by the people of the state. The demon-possessed population are engaged in surveillance via traffic in and of itself. They're maintaining presence. They are centered and focused on me. This is why they put a fake sun over me. This is why they put a fake moon over me. This is why they keep engineer light while I have multiple shadows when I show you the light activity. It's entirely in an abnormal environment. It's where the demon-possessed dwell because they are stalking where I go, where I remain. That's literally the definition of stalking. And that is also the revealing of the identity. Those that are engaging in group stalking, the group stalker is a demon-possessed person. Okay, that includes the state of California. It is currently 10:27 p.m. The entity is just flying in circles above me, fading out into the background, waiting until I stop recording to engage in the exact same conduct on a louder basis. It's entirely pathetic. Like I said, I've already shown what is the stalker. That is the state of California. That in and of itself is what is shameful and pathetic. A whole government that's stalking. This is what it's doing, and it is a system of group stalking. And contrary to what any minion states on the internet, because they have not encountered me yet, I'm coming for those demons that are lying on the venue of the internet. The government shall not have any platform whatsoever to engage in the P.O.C. And federal law shall be that you are going to be prosecuted every single tactic where the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. And you are a group stalker on the venue of the internet. The entity is present on the venue of the internet, seeking to engage in obstruction of justice on the venue of the internet, seeking to engage in what is maintaining the fallacy that group stalking is not real, engaging in criminal defamation, anything to engage in what is reducing the legitimacy of the target individual, which is not going to work. You will find yourself in federal prison. Group stalking is fully underway on the venue of the internet. Understand that. The pattern of conduct is not only the ongoing criminal elements of monitoring, it is that which is serving to obstruct justice. That's what being a group stalker is about. And you are fully engaged in the pattern of conduct by the state of California on the venue of the internet, engaging in any facilitating conduct for which you shall be prosecuted as a group stalker. And you will be subject to the same exact, if not more, federal repercussions, because that's what group stalking is. And like I said, there is no amount of that any minion, because that's exactly what you are speaking in this manner about in ignorance about what is group stalking. Let me be clear. Those are minions that are lying. Group stalking is very real. That's why I have hundreds of videos of the entity stalking me. Group stalking by helicopter. You know how scared they are of me? They're so scared that they stole my vehicle, thinking that was going to stop me. No, you're going to go to federal prison for that. And you're going to pay for it, and some more. All right. But that's how scared that they are of me. They're stalking the one whom they actually fear and are inferior to. This is demonic. Understand that. Satan is under my feet. Literally, it's stalking me. That's what this is. And you're not talking about what's my word against nothing else, or my word against some saying third party. This is a matter of objective evidence. You are looking at the videos on a daily basis, the entity stalking me by helicopter. And that's just the hallmark. The entity is stalking by the people of the state. As I continuously break down the pattern of conduct where you're seeing the entity stalking by helicopter, the entity is stalking by helicopter because group stalking is underway as I continue to break down what the people of the state are doing on an ongoing basis everywhere that I go. That's not a matter of he said, she said, what some minion said against mine. Satan is a liar, and Satan is proven to be that liar and stalker. And that's what the system of group stalking is about, and that's why the entity's flying over me by helicopter. It's 10:30 p.m. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is P.O.C.